Hangwani Maumela, the National Police Commissioner, suspended him last month. For Eyewitness News, I'm Arun Singh reporting live from Centurion.
Let's stay with high-level police operations taking place in Gauteng today. The Special Investigating Unit has confirmed it is conducting 2 simultaneous raids in different provinces targeting properties belonging to Tembisa hospital tender mogul Hangwani Maumela. Maumela is linked to the SIU's investigation into the alleged looting through irregular tenders at that hospital, which were first exposed by the late whistleblower Babito Diokaran. SIU officials are currently at Maumela's luxurious Sandton home, seizing assets including high-end vehicles as well as furniture. At the same time, the unit has confirmed that another team is conducting a raid at a car dealership in Mpumalanga. Let's take you live now to our reporter Alpha Ramushwana, who is at Maumela's Sandton residence. Alpha, is that raid still active?
Yes, Bali, the raid is still indeed active. Trucks are lined up outside Hangwani Maumela's luxurious 3-story mansion in Sandton as SIU teams load his high-end vehicles onto the trucks. Dozens of law enforcement officials are also inside the property conducting a thorough search of the lavish residence. Meanwhile, SIU officials have also swooped on a car dealership in Witbank but refused to divulge if it's linked to the investigation into Maumela's alleged syndicate. SIU spokesperson Wao Komutsieng has, however, remained tight-lipped about the details of that operation.
Yes, we can confirm that there was an operation in Witbank. So, however, we were not able to take the cars. We had an agreement with the dealer who gave us a bank guarantee check. Like I said, we can't talk further.
But there has been no sight of Maumela as of yet as the SIU sweeps through his property. But we do know that the curators are currently in discussions with Maumela's lawyers as they continue with the raid at his lavish Sandton property. For Eyewitness News, I'm Alpha Ramshwana reporting live from Sandton.
Let's shift our focus now to the Eastern Cape, where disgruntled student leaders at the University of Fort Hare's Alice campus have vowed to defy an order to evict the premises following intense protest action. The main campus in Digeni in the Eastern Cape has been indefinitely shut down after students clashed with police over a range of issues. These include what students have labelled a governance crisis. Nugukanya Mtambo is there.
Hundreds of students are pulling heavily loaded luggage bags, leaving main campus for the close-by taxi rank and bus stops. Those still on the premises have until 5 p.m. to clear out. But leaders from at least 8 student organizations have released a 2-page letter telling students to stay put while they try to resolve the impasse. The organizations, including SASCO, EFF Student Command and COPE, deny being party to the disruptions on campus, accusing university management of using brute force during a heated exchange with students yesterday. Some of the former SRC members are currently on calls with lawyers seeking help to interdict the eviction notice to students. For now, the situation remains calm, with several police vans and inyalas keeping a close watch. Nogukhaingam Dambo, Eyewitness News in Digeni in the Eastern Cape.
And in the Western Cape, anti-crime organizations will be meeting Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia today to discuss the SAPS's plan to deal with gangsterism that's in Cape Town. Kachalia presented the plan to the Select Committee on Security and Justice in Parliament yesterday. A statistic shared in Parliament shows that gang-related murders are up 18% in the Western Cape compared to the same time last year. Carlo Peterson has more.
As shootings continue unabated in Cape Town with 490 gang-related deaths recorded since April, the Cape Crime Crisis Coalition says it's looking forward to meeting with Acting Police Minister Feroz Kachalia. Members of the group met Kachalia 2 weeks ago to provide input on the plan to tackle the ongoing flare-up of gang violence in the province. The coalition's David Abrams.
We're having there's an online meeting with the minister, and he's going to be reporting back on 2 weeks ago. He was here in Cape Town. So there's an online report back meeting this afternoon. It's not only with us, it's with broad stakeholders. Then we'll give feedback.
The plan includes bolstering policing, increased crime intelligence, and strengthening community policing in gang hotspots. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
Gold is trading at $4,039.08 an ounce. The rand is at 17.14 to the dollar, 22.93 to the pound, 19.91 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.25 a barrel.
Well, at this stage in the Midrand area heading towards Centurion, there's an accident scene, N1 North, before New Road, causing more than an hour delay all the way from the Batoon interchange. So avoid that route at all costs. Rather use Old Pretoria Road or the R55 as alternatives. And in Calvin, heading towards Alex, traffic sluggish, N3 South, between the Batoon interchange and London Road.
In your sport, the latest from the World Cup as the Proteas women clash with co-host India. Proteas lose Gwena Mapaga for Pakistan white ball tour. And Carlos Sainz slams F1 over Singapore Grand Prix television coverage.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with scattered afternoon showers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 28 and 31 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour. Police remain mum on a secret operation underway at the home of suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia in Centurion.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app, DSTV channel 856,
92.7
and 106 FM.
Very good afternoon, everyone. It's 9 minutes past 3 on Thursday, the 9th of October. This is 702 Drive with me, John Perlman. Wherever in the world you are listening to us, we call all of it 702 Land. Welcome to the show. Police Minister Senzo Mkhunu has been spoken about a great deal at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry and, of course, in Parliament as well. He hasn't said much at all. But now we understand that his Chief of Staff will be making a statement in response to remarks made by Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, the KZN Police Commissioner, of course, the person who started us off down this road back in July. Our EWN colleague Tembisa is covering that. As soon as he's got something, we will share it with you. Some other stories we're doing. There's been a raid, as you heard, on the home of Hangwani Maumela, who the SIU has identified as central to the allegations of looting of the Tembisa hospital. We've got Alpha Ramoshwana, who's out there, as you heard a moment ago. He'll update us on anything new. And at 10 past 4, we'll chat to Jeff Wicks, who picked up on the work done by the assassinated Babita Diokaran and did a lot of digging into the looting syndicates at Tembisa. He'll know very well what it is that Mr. Maumela stands accused of. Jeff Wicks with us at 10 past 4. You wouldn't think that international criminal syndicates would be interested in stealing South Africa's succulent plants, but they are. The thieving is on an industrial scale. It seems, be that they are connected to all sorts of other criminal activity, and the profits are huge, as is the damage both to our ecology and our economy. More on that at 10 to 4. And in our weekly look at Your House, Your Home, what happens in collective living spaces, complexes, blocks of flats where some people want to do short-term lets on Airbnb and similar platforms, and others absolutely hate the idea. Who prevails, and what does the law say on this? By the way, if you've been in that situation and either you're trying to resolve this or you managed to come to a decent resolution, drop me a note, 072 702 1702 if you want to chat on 011 883 0702. We've got all that and a whole lot more on 702 Drive, including breaking news from the roads in our regular traffic updates, and the latest from the markets. On the markets, another record day for the JSE, taking the all share over the 111,000 point mark. Currently at 111,171, up around 200 points on the day. SAPI, you may recall, had a rough start to the week. Mondi even worse, but SAPI's up by 7%. Mondi has also made back some gains, although they did take what I called a pulping earlier in the week. They're up by 3.2. Tungela, the coal company, has gained 4%. South 32 is up by 3.6. The rand is currently trading at 17 rand 10 against the US dollar, 10 cents stronger than this time yesterday. A euro will cost you 19 rand 85, 13 cents stronger than yesterday, and 22 rand 88 will get you a pound. So that's interesting. The euro below 20, the pound below 23. Haven't had that for a while. That pound gain, by the way, 16 cents on yesterday's price. The oil price is up by 6 cents. Brent crude trading at $66.07 a barrel. Stephen Curtis joins us with all the details at 25 past 4. Tolakele keeping an eye on that cricket match. India have just lost a wicket. This we like. They're 154 for 7 playing South Africa's women in the town of Visakhapatnam. Place I don't know much about. Perhaps you've been there, or perhaps you're listening from there. Maybe you're at the match and listening to us. If you know anything about the city in which the Proteas women are doing what seems to me pretty well, drop me a note, 072-702-1702. This is 702 Drive. We're live in the place where you live, and if it's happening in 702 land, we'll bring you as much as we can, as quickly as we can. But if you see something before we do, our feelings will not be hurt. We will be delighted, and we would like nothing more than to welcome you to our news team. Seriously, though, if you see something, hear something, maybe we're missing something, contact us on 072-702-1702 or 011-883-0702. It's 14 minutes past 3.
702.
Let's walk the talk.
Okay, so we always have lots to talk about, and there's a lot of activity going on with the police today. Just looking up and seeing that Deputy National Commissioner Shadrach Sabir is on TV at the moment. We'll clock in and find out what he's actually saying. He's being interviewed at the moment. So there's lots to inquire about as well. What do all of these raids mean? And lots to think about. But as we get through the news agenda, and it's a busy one today, we do not want to miss out on some of those random things that we always enjoy talking about, little things that pop up because of conversations we've had, things that you might have sent us by either WhatsApp or WhatsApp voice, or possibly even somebody making a call to the team. And one of those is excuses. Now, we deal with a lot of excuses on our radio shows because you're always saying to somebody, why hasn't this been done? But I want to go back to the days before the word challenges had become quite so prevalent in our national conversation. Because I bet when you were at school and you hadn't done your homework, or you were late for school, you probably wouldn't have got very, very far if you'd said, Tichere, I had some challenges. Well, you could have tried it, but I think you would have faced a significant challenge getting much further than that. So, two-part question. What was the best excuse that you came up with for not doing your homework or for being late? And did it work? Did you actually manage to get off the hook by offering that excuse? So I don't have anything to share because I was never late and I always did my homework. I was, 10 out of 10. There we go.
Good kid in class.
No, I had excuses, but they were all so pathetic. I think I've just eliminated them from my mind. I wish I'd known to speak about challenges, and then they could have told me there'd be consequence management. Would have been better than getting whipped, which was generally what happened in my day. But Jonathan Fairbairn, excuses?
Sure. Afternoon, John, and afternoon to the 702 family. So, also school days, we were never late, thankfully, so I didn't have to come up with an excuse for there. And then in terms of homework, I really can't remember excuses then. But I do remember one excuse when I was working here on media.
For being late?
Yes.
Okay,
So I was working on the John Robbie show between 6 and 9, obviously, and we always had to be at the office by 4 a.m. to start going through things, right? Mm-hmm. And my best mate, Simon, was over from the UK. And that particular night, we decided to go to a pool bar and just play a casual game of pool, which then happened. Another friend joined, and Simon's brother joined.
All this is true, by the way.
This is all true.
Okay, we're on the true part. Let's go.
And then one thing led to another, and we had a lot to drink, and this went on and on and on and on. And 4 o'clock came. And I was like, no, I can't go to work. There's no chance I can go to work.
Yes.
So Simon decided, don't worry, I will phone your boss, Paladi Kwanko, then, and say that I'm your father. This is a great idea, Simon. Go for it.
Go for it,
so
Simon.
Simon phones and says, hello, this is Jonathan's father, and he's a bit sick. He's not going to come to work. Anyway, the host who was on between 4 and 6 then decided to say something on air, right? Which my mother, listening to the radio at home,
oh my goodness,
was like, why is he not at work? This is quite concerning. And on the traffic reports, there was a report of an accident with a Mercedes. And at that time, I was driving a Mercedes. So she phones the station. Hello, where's Jonathan? What's happening? No, Mrs. Fairburn, your husband had called and said that Jonathan's not well. He's not coming in. So then she's like, okay, yes, sorry, no, that's right. And puts down the phone. Then I got called.
What a great mom.
Then I got called and was told what was happening. And then I made my way to the station. And then later that morning, I got called into the station manager's office. And I get no more excuses and just admitted what went wrong. And luckily enough, I'm still here.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're still here, but boy, you've set the bar high on excuses stories. So I think we're going to have to say, you can talk about school days or you can talk about work stories because, otherwise it's an impossible task. But school days, did you try something and pull it off?
I've always been a terrible liar, so I never attempted because you can just see through me that,
you have that face.
Yeah, that face. So I try to do my homework as much as possible, and I try to get to school as early as possible. But the one excuse that I always made at school when it was PE or at our school, it was compulsory to do afternoon activity. Like you had to pick a sport.
Yes.
So every time when I didn't feel like participating or doing PE or doing the sport, I'm asthmatic.
Doing the juggling with the soccer ball, eh?
So I'm asthmatic. I'll always say, I've got a tight chest and I've been trying my asthma pump. It's not working. Can I please sit this one out? And the coach will be like, yeah, no, you can sit this one out. It worked like a charm.
Okay.
Well, you'll never be able to use that excuse with us.
No. But in fairness, we will never ask you to do keepy uppies before you give us the traffic, which you're going to give us now. But let me just remind people, though, of the numbers. 072-702-1702. Great excuses that you made either at work or at school. And how did it turn out? Better than Kabazela, I would hope. But either way, I bet it's a good story. Please share it. Traffic now.
Well, at this stage, if you're heading towards Centurion, leaving Midrand, there's an accident scene on the N1 northbound. This is near New Road, causing more than an hour delay all the way from the Patloo interchange. So avoid that route at all costs. If you're leaving Ekurhuleni, rather drive through Kempton Park, R21 North. If you're in the Joburg area, I bet rather use the R55 or Old Joburg Road, rather Old Pretoria Road as an alternative. Kelvin, traffic sluggish. This is heading towards Alex, N3 southbound between the Patloo interchange and London Road. And we still have faulty traffic lights in four ways at Witkoppen Road and Monte Casino Boulevard. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
If he has reason to believe that there are certain journalists who are compromised, is it wrong for him to suggest an investigation?
Let him put the reason on the table. You can't just go around unleashing investigations on people at a broader level. I agree with you. If you know you haven't done anything wrong, you shouldn't be afraid of any investigation. But at the same time, you can't have a commissioner just behaving like a tin pot dictator, saying, oh, what did Clement say about me? No, I didn't like that. Counterintelligence, you are unleashed. Go and find whatever you can find.
Yeah.
I think that is nonsense.
Makudi Sifara.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
Every day I'm hustling. It's our reality as business owners. And it's good to know that there's someone out there who takes care of the business that makes the business. Gotta love My Way Business Insurance. Saving big on premiums with 24/7 emergency services, plus My Business Assist with marketing, legal, and labor advice services.
Visit myway.co.za or dial 0860 64 64 64 and get a quote today. My Way is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's, C's and standard rates apply. My way, live your way.
Soccer and speed meet this season with Hollywood Bets and Aziz Shege. Be in the game. The thrilling competition sees 4 million rand in cash and prizes up for grabs. The first of 4 brand new vehicles is a top-of-the-range Toyota Rumian. Simply bet 10 rand or more on any soccer fixture or fixtures online or at your nearest branch to qualify. Feel the fever and bet now on the action. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counselling line 0800 006 008 or WhatsApp help to 076 675 0710.
Last orders coming through during your drive home or at midnight. Your customers check out whenever, wherever. With seamless payment integration and over 18 ways to get paid, PayFast by Network is built to keep up. And when it's time to grow, funding with Easy Advance helps you take the next step. Always open for late nights, for early starts, for you. Sign up today at payfast.io. PayFast has partnered with TimeBank to offer funding to your business.
As South Africa assumes the G20 presidency in 2025, 702 and Standard Bank Group bring you exclusive conversations with the voices shaping Africa's economic future.
The G20 has really, I think, provided us with a number of platforms to be able to engage across a wide range of stakeholders. And I think one of the areas that this is very helpful in is around being able to engage in advocacy for an enabling environment. If we look at the task force that the infrastructure and finance task force that the group has been involved in, it's really thinking about how we can unlock capital, sustainable infrastructure development and inclusive growth. And so we have really used this as an opportunity to bring the stakeholders together.
Brought to you by Standard Bank Group on 702. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
25 minutes past 3. Well, let's go across now to the home of Deputy Police, National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. The police have been there, apparently conducting a raid. Some computers and other equipment have been confiscated. Journalists are busy engaging both with General Sibiya and also with his lawyer, Ian Levitt. We'll just give you a taste of that, and then our EWN reporter Oren Singh is on the scene once the actual interaction at the front of the house is done and dusted. We'll bring Oren on and get an update, but let's just hear what's being said.
Everything, it was done in a decent way.
General, just the disciplinary process that's ongoing. I know you're meeting with your legal team today. Is that something you still intend to challenge, given what we're seeing with Crime Intelligence Head General Kumalo? You feel as though he's being treated with kid gloves. Is this something you intend on challenging, the way you've been handled with the disciplinary process?
I don't intend at this point in time to keep on challenging anything. I want to face it straight. I'll face the bullet.
General Makunazi says you had contact with criminal kingpins. Your response, sir?
My job is to investigate criminals. It is my space. I don't work at. I'm not a priest. I don't deal with Christians. I'm not a school principal. I work with. I'm a policeman.
Mm-hmm. What makes you think your colleagues have turned your back?
Policeman and I've investigated organized crime for many years. I'm almost 37 years in the field of what I'm doing. So.
General, why do you think you are a target? Why do you think your colleagues are targeting you specifically?
Look, at this present moment, there's time for that. I will talk at the right time, at the right forum.
General Sibiya, from where you stand, so many allegations have been made. You will appear before this ad hoc committee. You say you don't plan to go the same route that your colleagues have gone. But from where you stand here, are you saying you plan to tell South Africans you never participated in any illegal activity, whether it comes to participating in the disbandment of the political task team, having certain links with criminals in the underworld? Will you tell that ad hoc committee that every single one of these individuals who've made these allegations against you, even going as far as calling you a criminal, are lying?
Look, wait for me to go and testify.
Tell us something.
Some things to wait until I testify.
General Makonazi says he blocked you on WhatsApp because you were calling him. You wanted him to meet the minister to brief him on the AKA murder. Your response, General?
I will respond to that also there. But it's not true. But I will respond there.
Anything else to add, Ian?
The legal, it's very important that what is unfolding here has to be looked at as not as snapshots, but as a video.
Okay, so I think that gives you a real sense of the drama that's going on. I mean, in two parts of Johannesburg, we'll hear a little bit later about the raid on the property of Hangwani Maumela, who's been named not just by the investigative journalist Jeff Wicks, but also in the SIU report as being a central figure in the looting that took place, 2 billion rand at least at the Tembisa hospital. Jeff with us on that at 4:10. Oren Singh with us as soon as this interaction with the media outside the home of Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya is concluded. It seems to be going on for a while. 702 Drive, 3:28.
Business Outsurance are experts in business insurance for pharmacies, convenience stores, beauty salons, and more. Corne?
Business Outsurance is definitely the best insurance for my business. Bowled out every other insurance house. Honestly, looking at what you need, my installment came down within a day. Definitely the most professional.
Switch to Business Outsurance and you could get a massive 20% discount on your business insurance premium. Visit outsurance.co.za. Switch and save today. Licensed insurer and FSP. TCs and information online.
Got your attention? That's the power of advertising.
Prime Media is SA's leading media company, giving you unmatched reach across radio, audio, video, and digital. That's what you'll experience at the Prime Impact Sales event.
In Joburg, 3 to 7 November. Cape Town, 10 to 13 November. Register and receive a free demo commercial, a custom campaign, and access to exclusive partnerships.
Seats are filling fast. Register today at primeimpact.co.za.
To celebrate 25 years of helping you live the Premier life, FNB Premier is giving you a chance to win a 14-day European tour experience and other cool monthly prizes. Open any FNB Premier account from September to 31 December 2025. Switch your salary, swipe or tap a minimum of 2,000 Rand per month for 3 months straight. Spend and win with FNB Premier. FNB, help changes everything. TCs and competition rules apply. FNB, a division of First Rand Bank Limited, an authorized financial services and credit provider.
Right, it sounds like it's time for the news. It's been news all the time, but Mbali Dlamini with a summary of some real drama going on all over the place, it would seem. Mbali, where are you starting?
Well, John, we'll begin with news just in from Centurion, where laptops and other electronic items have been confiscated by police at the home of suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. Sibiya has been addressing the media outside his home just shortly after officers left the premises. Dozens of highly specialized operatives from the National Intervention Unit, the Special Task Force and Crime Intelligence spent the afternoon at Sibiya's home, locked behind his high walls. Sibiya's name has featured prominently during testimony at the Madlanga Commission of Inquiry, as well as Parliament's ad hoc committee, both probing allegations of criminal and political interference in the police service. Sibiya stands accused of having ignored protocol and issued an instruction to have 121 dockets being investigated by the KZN Political Killings Task Team transferred to his office. We will continue to bring you more on this story in our upcoming bulletins. Let's take you to Parliament now, where National Police Commissioner Hangwani Maumela says policing in the country is not in a state of crisis. Maumela told Parliament's ad hoc committee, which is investigating those corruption allegations in the criminal justice system, that there's been a notable improvement in enrolling cases since KZN Police top cop Ntantla Mkhwanazi's press conference in July. Maumela is giving testimony on the third day of the parliamentary hearings into Mkhwanazi's claims. Babalondenze reports.
National Commissioner Hangwani Maumela took to the stand to give testimony and face MPs following Ntantla Mkhwanazi's marathon 2-day session. He was asked by evidence leader Advocate Norman Arendse whether policing is in a state of crisis following Mkhwanazi's allegations of widespread corruption.
Would you describe the police service as being in a state of crisis?
or are you managing? I will not describe it as a state, that the police service is in a state of crisis.
Masemola was also asked whether issues raised by Mkhwanazi have been addressed or corrected since his July press briefing. He told the committee that things have improved drastically, including cases involving the Political Killings Task Team, which had previously struggled to register cases.
For example, with regard to enrollment of cases, I would say it improved quite drastically.
Masemola's testimony continues where you will face more questions around Minister Senzo Mchunu's influence, as well as the alleged moratorium on filling vacancies in the police. Babalo Ndenze, Eyewitness News, Parliament.
A group of immigrants working illegally in the country has been arrested following an inspection blitz in Turffontein in the south of Joburg. The Employment and Labour Department conducted an operation today targeting various business sectors. Deputy Minister Jomo Sibia says the operation is to safeguard workers' rights, ensure businesses comply with labour laws as well as immigration regulations. Tandoluhle Ngcobo has more.
10 foreign nationals have been arrested by Home Affairs and police after they were found to be working in the country illegally. The Home Affairs Department, that is part of the inspection blitz at Turffontein, says the workers presented fraudulent passports, work permits, critical skills permits and asylum seeker permits. Home Affairs Provincial Manager Mamakubong Muroke.
So from here we will be applying the law in terms of detaining those who have transgressed, but there is also an action for the employer who has employed illegal foreigners.
She says South African employees have a responsibility to check whether or not foreign nationals have proper documentation. Tandoluhle Ngcobo, Eyewitness News.
And in KZN, the family of late South African ambassador to France, Nathi Mthethwa, has confirmed that his body will leave Paris for South Africa this evening. The remains are expected to land at the OR Tambo International Airport tomorrow before being taken to the King Shaka International Airport in Durban. Mthethwa's uncle, Musawukphila Mthethwa, says a procession will then head to the family home in Gwambonambi, north of the province, ahead of his burial on Sunday. Mthethwa died in Paris last week, and the cause of his death is still under investigation. Nhlanhla Mabaso has more.
Senior members of the Mthethwa family arrived in Paris yesterday to perform key rituals as they prepare to bring the ambassador's body home. His uncle Musawukphila says the family will leave France tonight and be home by tomorrow. And while government prepares for the final send-off, KZN Premier Thamsanqa Ntuli says they will honor Mthethwa.
He was there in France on behalf of all of us, including the people of KwaZulu-Natal, and for his immense contributions that he has made in the life of the people of South Africa as he has been in government.
The full details of the funeral are yet to be communicated. Nhlanhla Mabaso, Eyewitness News, Durban.
It's a partly cloudy afternoon in Gauteng today with scattered showers expected. Temperatures have peaked at highs of between 28 and 31 degrees.
Accident scene Midrand N1 North before New Road causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from the Butlu interchange in Calvin. Traffic remains sluggish N3 South between the Butlu interchange and London Road.
The top story in EWN, laptops and other electronic items have been confiscated by police at the home of suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9.
Hospital is preparing for an inspection. All the necessary equipment is in tip-top shape. And at every other hospital, they see the same because the facilities are sharing some of the same equipment to try and pull the wool over the inspector's eyes. Dr. Sipiwe Mdaweni, are we ready for NHI?
The state of readiness can never be uniform, but we have all that it takes for our facilities to participate in the NHI.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Ready to lead the future of business? At Wits Business School, leaders don't just adapt, they define what comes next. Choose from a wide range of postgraduate programs designed to develop your leadership and strategic thinking skills. Whether you're looking to deepen your expertise or broaden your horizons, there is a qualification for you. At Wits Business School, ambition becomes leadership. Visit wbs.ac.za to find the program that's right for you. That's wbs.ac.za.
Ask yourself, what matters most? Is it being there for their first steps and still around for their first dance? Knowing you're not just covered, but cared for. Bonitas goes beyond benefits and claims. We're in your corner for what matters most. Bonitas, medical aid for South Africa. Voted #1 medical aid in the Ask Africa Orange Index Awards for the 2nd year running. Visit bonitas.co.za and find your plan.
Huawei Watch GT6 Series, 2025's must-have smartwatch, introducing the king of power. Up to 21 days of unstoppable battery life in a sleek titanium and ceramic design that's as strong as it's stylish. The Trackmaster with 24/7 heart rate tracking, sleep monitoring, advanced health management, and the world's first cycling virtual power feature. Fully compatible with both iOS and Android. Get yours now from just 169 Rand a month over 36 months or 4,999 Rand at selected retailers. T's and C's apply.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. Let me just be anonymous on this one. A colleague of mine once called in saying there's a snake that came into his house. He called in like very early in the morning, around about 7 o'clock or thereabout. 8, no show. 9, no show. 10, no show. Calls in at about 11, says, hey, look, we had to take out all the furniture from the house, looking for the snake. But we eventually found it, and we captured it, and now we have to put the furniture back. So just like that, he skipped work. Anonymous.
Hey, Bra John, you know, hey, Bra Jonathan, it was a bad move for somebody to pretend to be your father. But you know, you remind me of this guy I used to work with. One time he was not at work for 2 days, Monday and a Tuesday. When he came in on a Wednesday, he was late to work. And when he got in, we were in a meeting. And then he quickly rushed in and said, sorry, I'm late. And then the manager decided that he wants to put him on the platform so that he can tell all of us why he couldn't come to work the past 2 days. And you know, with a very straight face, he said, so I had to stay home to make sure that it's all right before I come to work, meaning that his cat was sick and then he had to stay home to make sure that it's all right before he comes back to work. We laughed. And he was making a joke with a very serious face.
Yeah, the question we asked you, by the way, either excuses you offered for not doing homework, being late for school, but it's become a conversation as well. Excuses that you made to explain why you weren't at work. Keep those coming, please, on 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. 20 minutes to 4. It is sports time.
EWN Sport.
Looks to me like a game of back and forth. One team on top and then the other clawing their way back. Proteas women up against India at the World Cup. Tolakele, how's it looking now?
Well, John, the hosts are at the crease on 225 for the loss of 7. That's in the 48th over. Batting is Gosh on 77 alongside Rana on 24. For the men, Kwena Mapaga has been ruled out of South Africa's one-off T20 against Namibia on Saturday, as well as the entire white ball tour to Pakistan with a hamstring strain. He's replaced in the squad to face Namibia in the T20 series by Seema Odnal-Bartman, while Lazard Williams will take his place for the ODIs. Switching over to the Under-20 FIFA World Cup, where Amajita are now out of the competition, having lost 3-1 to Colombia in the last 16. Raymond Daga believes that his side were frustrated throughout the 90 minutes due to their inability to control the game in the way they normally do.
They did a very good homework, Colombia, about us. We knew how they play and we felt we'll exploit the spaces on the side the moment they try and invent the full backs. But they made it in a way that firstly they press us high and also make sure that we don't get passing lane from the middle. So it frustrated our play a bit. Your time was running and we ended up ending with this kind of the result.
Bafana gearing up for tomorrow's must-win 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Midfielders Pelelos Toles back in the national team fold for the first time in 12 months. That's having recovered from an injury that he sustained during an AFCON qualifier in September last year.
It was tough mentally because, if you're injured, you can't do anything. So, or that, or you can't help or the team with anything, but all you have to do is to support. The only thing all you can do is to communicate with them through WhatsApp messages. Or that's what I did. Like, I was supporting them while I was away from home, and I'm happy that they did good.
And Carlos Sainz has criticized Formula One's race broadcasters for excessively featuring celebrities and drivers' partners, often at the expense of crucial on-track action. Sainz has urged the production team not to lose sight of the main thing after key moments were missed by the broadcast during the Singapore Grand Prix. They include Lewis Hamilton's late brake issue, Fernando Alonso's pursuit of Hamilton, as well as several overtakes that were made by Sainz. Tolagele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
Coming up now for 17 minutes to 4. Delays out in Midrand. What's causing that?
We had an accident scene earlier, John. This is on the N1 northbound before New Road, and this is still causing about a 30-minute delay all the way from the Bethlehem interchange. Calvin, traffic sluggish. N3 south between the Bethlehem interchange and London Road. Look out for those faulty traffic lights in four ways. Witkoppen and Monte Casino Boulevard. In Pretoria, there is slow-moving traffic leaving the CBD. This is on Eskiam Pahlele between Vormhagen and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
16 minutes now to 4 o'clock. Tolakele, why are you late?
Late?
Yeah, I'm just letting you practice a bit. We've been talking about excuses that you might have made, either for being late at school or for not doing your homework, or if you want to extend it into your working life, you may want to tell us a tale from the more recent past.
My standard school one was definitely like, my grandmother has died. Mm-hmm. Listen, at school they never ask you like produce the death certificate. Was the standard one. Unfortunately for me, my grandmother had died, so I didn't specify like how often she had died and stuff like that. But I remember in another lifetime at another job, often I would just say it's load shedding.
Yeah.
And that got me out of trouble because also, who's going to say no?
So it's interesting, the modern opportunities for, trying to get out of these sticky situations. I referred to the fact that when I was a kid, the word challenges was not something you could offer, which, of course, we hear about quite frequently when we ask, for example, why there isn't water or anything as trivial as that. Load shedding, we never had that as a possible excuse. We don't have it now, hey? Really?
Do we not, John?
No, not on this scale.
I can cook something in a WhatsApp group and then just post that as it just came through today.
Put me on the WhatsApp group. I need some help. Now here's one. It's a wonderful message and beautifully written. I can't read all of it because it's very, very long. But I'm going to share with you the bare details, and then I'm going to read to the last part, which gives you a sense. So this is a young man who had maths homework, didn't do the maths homework, and says, the teacher asked, "Where is your homework?" Now I'm quoting directly. And I said with the most serious face ever, "Ma'am, I tried, I really did, but my dog ate it." You would think that is where it ends, right? No, this teacher was a former detective in her past life. I'm sure she squinted her eyes and said, "Bring the dog in tomorrow." And he continues and says, "Now I'm stuck. Problem is I didn't even have a dog, but I had a neighbor with a wild, half-crazy creature named Rex who barked at everything, including his own shadow." Now, this is the bit I'm going to read to in full. "The next day I borrowed Rex and walked him to school like a proud parent. The moment he entered the classroom, Rex lost his mind, barking, running, licking everyone's shoes. The teacher stood frozen. I said, 'See, ma'am, he's still hungry for more homework.' The whole class erupted, and even the teacher started laughing so hard she had to sit down. She said, 'You're getting detention, but you're also getting a gold star for creativity.'" So I guess you have to say, in a way, that excuse actually worked. Keep yours coming, please, your excuses. No excuse for not sending me your excuse tale. And you send it to this number, 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. No, the dog did not eat your phone. It's 13 minutes to 4.
Good afternoon, Tate John and the team there. So my excuse was totally not planned at all. So I'm from a small town in the Eastern Cape called Matatiel, which is very close to the Drakensberg. So what happens is almost every year we get snow there. So here I am in Joburg one Monday morning. I'm still laying in bed. I'm early for work, haven't even took a shower. So I decided to log on to Facebook. I see a lot of my friends who are back home posting pictures of snow, pictures of their cars snowed in and everything. So I decided to take a few of those pictures, and then I send 2 or 3 of them to my boss and tell him, hey, after work on Friday, I drove back home. So now I'm unable to come back because now I'm snowed in. He responded and said, take your time, my man. Come back whenever it is safe to do so. I'm telling you that I only went back to work on Friday. So I took 4 days off. I'd like to stay anonymous.
Yeah, thank you for those. Please do keep them coming. In a moment, we're going to go down to the Eastern Cape, in particular to the University of Fort Hare, where conflict on the campus has resulted in the burning of massive amounts of infrastructure on that campus. The estimated damage so far, 500 million rand. We will hear about what's going on there. Apparently, the campus is closing. It is being closed down. Students who are in residence need to leave. We'll get the very latest from our reporter, Nokukanya Mtambo, who is watching events at Fort Hare. All that and more coming up on 702 Drive.
The Midday Report.
Weekdays,
12 to 1.
Have you been informed about which case this is to do with, what the specific matter is?
We haven't been advised what the specific charges are. In fact, I've heard more about it on the radio than from the police themselves, which will be something that I'll be raising in time as to what the intention of this arrest is. But we haven't been advised what the specific, but I cannot confirm that until I'm at the house.
Ian Levitt, Shadrach Sabia's lawyer.
The Midday Report
with Mandy Wiener.
12 to 1 on 702.
702.
The stage, the lights, the crowd, everything's perfect until suddenly someone slips on the dance floor. A speaker lands in the buffet. In an instant, your masterpiece is a mess. That's why Auto & General is there with Events Liability Insurance. We handle the unexpected so you don't have to. Plan the party, wow the guests, leave the rest to us. For more information on Events Liability Insurance, visit autogen.co.za. Auto & General, never not there. Auto & General is a licensed non-life insurer and FSP. T's and C's online.
It's that time of the year. Sneezing, itchy, watery eyes, blocked noses and coughs. It's time to live, work, play and sleep allergy-free. For trusted relief for you and your family this allergy season, ask your pharmacist for the Adcock Ingram OTC Allergy Survival Pack. With products like Allergex Non-Drowsy, Cetisid, Levogex and more, we have you covered. Remember, Adcock Ingram OTC. And visit beprepared365.co.za.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
Let's get ourselves down then to the Eastern Cape, to the University of Fort Hare. Lots of turbulence on that campus. And as I said, massive destruction of property there, a student center and some other buildings razed to the ground in the course of the conflict, which appears to be around issues of student governance. Nokukanya Mtambo, our EWN reporter, is there. Nokukanya, let's start with the point I've just made about the burning down of buildings. I don't know if the police have been commenting. Are they any closer to finding out who did it and making any arrests?
Good afternoon, John. At this point, not quite. I think there's a lot of finger pointing that's happening. The students that are being accused of setting the buildings, those 2 buildings alight last night, say it wasn't them. They, in fact, accuse university management, suggesting that there may be a bigger ploy at play here, saying they're trying to frame them and paint them as the bad people in this particular scenario and change the narrative and to shift the focus from what the real issues are, those being what you just mentioned now, John, the issues about governance. What they say was the flouting of student governance when it comes to the election of SRC after the last one ended their term. So there's a lot of finger pointing. There are quite a few police vans and Inyalas that are currently on campus right now, but there hasn't been any arrests. At this moment, there doesn't seem to be any exchange either, other than just allowing for the students to exit the facility or the premises as peacefully as possible. So no arrests. A few injuries were told by the students, none that were confirmed, that were caused at least by the exchange that happened yesterday in the evening. So as far as we know, there were 2 students who were taken to hospital, but nobody has really taken ownership of how exactly that happened. So no major movement, I suppose, John, post what happened yesterday in the evening when those 2 buildings were set alight.
So Nokukanya, I mean, I have to ask this. The student leadership, I don't know if this is representative leadership, when they say that the buildings might have been set alight by the university administration itself to distract from the issues, can I just ask if they're being serious?
John, you'll have to repeat that question for me again,
I'm just saying, I mean, if this is representative student leadership, if this is the voice of the protesting students, and are they, when they claim that the university administration set the buildings alight themselves, are they making that as a serious statement?
From what it seems, they certainly are making it as a serious statement. Whether or not there is any truth to it, John, again, is something, I suppose, that can be left to investigations. I'm not in any position to confirm whether, that may be or may not be true. But their suggestion really is there was a student that was planted by university administration to deflect from the main issues. But part of what they're also complaining about is that university management hasn't come down to their level, John, to address them on any of the issues, be it, this particular case where they say, it's not on their end, they didn't set the buildings alight, or any of the other long-standing issues. And I think that's part of what really flared up the situation yesterday, the fact that they aren't being met at their level by university management in terms of addressing, some of the claims that they've made against university management, or, resolving some of the student challenges. So the issues of accommodation, they say, is unsatisfactory. In fact, I've been to a few of them here on campus, this particular campus that's, the center of this particular dispute. They don't look fantastic, I'll tell you that. So they're saying outside of the issues of governance, they're also not being, met in terms of addressing these particular accommodation issues, the issues of examination timetables, when they say they're overpacked and they don't allow for students enough time and space for them to study. They don't have the relevant facilities. The library is not open 24 hours. So these are long-standing issues that they accuse management of not addressing over a long period. And then, of course, the issue of the VC, which they say is now, post-retirement, but continues after an irregular council. Again, this is what they claim. The university management has disputed all of this. The VC continues outside of that retirement period to serve. So all they want now is, seeing as there has been a failure by the university management to address them, they're now trying to escalate the matter to the Department of Higher Education, hoping that they'll then be able to intervene and step in and help.
Nokukanya Mtambo, thanks very much. Well, I suppose it is a problem that the library isn't open for as long as the student representatives would like. I guess we just need to be extremely grateful that it hasn't been burnt down 4 minutes to 4.
You're with John Perlman
on 702.
Let's go to that big breaking story then. One of many big breaking stories today. Oren Singh, EWN reporter, has been out at the home in Centurion of Shadrach Sabir, the Deputy National Police Commissioner, accompanied by his lawyer Ian Levitt, have been fielding questions from the media. Oren, I don't know, where do we start on this? There's the Q&A and the insistence from Shadrach Sabir that is being targeted as part of something larger. But what did you make of, firstly, the raid, and secondly, the General's response?
Good afternoon, John. Well, I think, Shadrach Sabir himself says he's not angered by this search and seizure operation, and let's just first and foremost clarify that he was expecting to be arrested, and he thought he was going to be arrested. He was with his attorney, Ian Levitt, for the most part of this morning, and he got the word that they were coming to arrest him. And when he got there, they managed to speak to them. They got a search and seizure warrant that they looked at, and there were specific devices, electronic devices, that these teams from the National Intervention Unit, Special Task Force and Crime Intelligence were looking for. And those are several cell phones, about 3 or 4 cell phones, he says, and a laptop as well. So they confiscated the devices and then they went on their way. But Sibiya confirming that as of about 3 a.m. this morning, there was a member of crime intelligence stationed outside his home in Centurion, staking out his place, and that they became aware of that and had to go and intervene and find out what he was doing there, and that kind of tipped him off that something was going to go down today. Suggesting that he knew it was coming, and suggesting that he's still expecting at some stage towards the latter part of his career to be arrested. Claiming that, as far as the allegations go that Mkhwanazi has put out in the public space before the Madlanga Commission and the Ad hoc Commission, there's not sufficient evidence that has been put out there as of yet. He wouldn't talk too much about the allegations put out against him, that he's linked to criminal cartels, suggesting that that's his line of work. He works with organized crime. So at some stage he would be faced with having to speak to members that are involved in crime. Not giving too much away to that in that regard, John, but saying that he is highly disappointed by the manner in which this operation was conducted, bearing in mind that his 70-year-old grandmother and his 2 children aged about 8 and 10 were in the home when these members with high-caliber weapons or rifles barged in and turned his place upside down, where he would have been more than willing just to assist and help with them with what they needed. So he suggests that he's very disappointed in the National Police Commissioner, Hangwani Maumela himself, as well as Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, for the manner in which this was carried out.
So, Oren, let's just take advantage of the fact that you've got both a long and wide view of this larger story that's playing out. What do you make of what's happened today at Shadrack Sibiya's home?
I think the timing is perfect of it, John, bearing in mind that Shadrack Sibiya was consulting with his senior counsel before making that appearance before the ad hoc committee on Monday. And we knew yesterday when General Mkhwanazi was speaking before Parliament, he suggested that arrests are imminent in terms of the investigation into this Big Five syndicate that he's talked about, but other officers that he alleges are involved, senior cops that are involved in protecting these syndicate members. So I think the timing of it is perfect, but there are ongoing investigations, and we can't assume what those investigations are related to. Shadrack Sibiya telling us that the search and seizure warrant had charges of defeating the ends of justice, money laundering and corruption listed on them, among others, which he didn't go into detail of. And so this is a bigger picture that and a much larger investigation that they're looking into. But obviously at the end of the day, John, you've been saying it from the start, the evidence needs to be put before us. And I think up until now, it's been a bit wanting in that regard.
Oren Singh, thank you very much. On the scene out in Centurion, a story that we'll be hearing much, much more about, I would think, throughout the course of the day. It's 4 o'clock.
This is EWN.
Electronics have been seized at the home of Shadrack Sibiya in Centurion, and the SIU also seizes luxury assets at tender tycoon Hangwani Maumela's home. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Several electronic devices have been confiscated from the home of suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya in Centurion. It follows a secret operation by members of the National Intervention Unit, Special Task Force and Crime Intelligence, some of whom were staked out at Sibiya's home from as early as 3 a.m. Sibiya says the members furnished him with a search and seizure warrant, which was related to various charges of defeating the ends of justice, corruption and money laundering. He admits he thought he was going to be arrested and clarifies what was confiscated.
I was under the impression that it's going to happen. I'm expecting it anytime. I mean, the General Mkhwanazi said yesterday that it's imminent. There's been imminent since last year, so I'm still waiting. They came to conduct a search and seizure. They will normally look for the gadgets. and the cell phones of everybody who's in the yard.
Let's stay with policing matters. The Chief of Staff to suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu claims there's a target on his back, saying law enforcement officers raided his home and assaulted his brother. Cedric Ngabinde believes police mistook his brother for him. He says the incident took place last night. Ngabinde has been holding a media briefing in Sandton today to respond to some of the allegations against him. Ngabinde says the police were there to seize his electronic gadgets.
They entered my flat and they thought my brother was myself, and they demanded to search the flat without showing any warrant or any search warrant. When the brother is asking them to show a search warrant, they started to assault him with the firearms butt.
In other search and seizure operations today, the Special Investigating Unit remains tight-lipped about details of its ongoing raid at the home of businessman Hangwani Maumela in Sandton this afternoon. The SIU has seized 3 Lamborghini vehicles and other assets from the property today. The unit confirmed the raid as part of investigations into the alleged looting of tenders at the Tembisa hospital. Maumela was recently identified in one of the syndicates allegedly involved in irregular tenders, a matter also highlighted by the late whistleblower Babita Diokoran. Alfa Ramushwana reports from Sandton.
The SIU recently secured a preservation order allowing it to seize assets belonging to tender tycoon Hangwani Maumela, valued at over 300 million rand. At a media briefing last month, the unit stated that Maumela is allegedly part of syndicates that benefited from large irregular tenders at the Tembisa hospital. With the SIU currently raiding his home, spokesperson Wa Komutieng says the unit can't divulge details of today's operation.
The operation is linked to Tembisa investigation, but however, we are not able to say much at this stage, simply because there are some legal processes that needs to be finalized.
A massage parlor and high-value artwork are among Maumela's assets that have been seized. Alfa Ramshwana, Eyewitness News in Sandton.
Let's move to the Eastern Cape now, where some students who have been evicted from the University of Fort Hare's Alice campus have been left stranded following a tense standoff at the campus. Tensions over long-standing grievances led to a heated exchange between students and police yesterday. Rubber bullets were used to disperse the protesting students after 2 buildings were set alight. It's not the first time that frustrated students have taken management to task over what they say are governance issues, poor living conditions and the alleged flouting of regulations in SRC matters. An eviction notice has since been issued with an order by management for students to clear out the residences by 5 p.m.
We are far from home. We don't even have money. And even our parents can't raise that money at this particular time. So we are panicking right now, honestly.
Do you know what's going to happen to you at 5 o'clock?
That's why we are panicking, because we don't know. There is no statement other than that we must evict the premises before 5 p.m. So that's why we are panicking, because we don't know what's going to happen next.
What are you feeling? Do you know how to get home at this moment? Is there a plan for you to go home?
I don't have a plan for now. And also I've told my parents, and still they don't have money.
And further afield, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has hailed the new Gaza ceasefire deal as a moment of profound relief. During a press conference with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Mumbai, Starmer welcomed the deal, saying it's a step in the right direction. Earlier today, Israel and Hamas agreed to a Gaza ceasefire deal to free the remaining living hostages. Starmer says this is a major step towards ending a war that has killed tens of thousands of people.
This is a moment of profound relief that we felt around the world, but particularly for the hostages, their families, and for the civilian population of Gaza.
Gold is trading at $4,039.10 an ounce. The rand is at 17.13 to the dollar, 22.93 to the pound, 19.92 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.25 a barrel.
Midrand bumper-to-bumper traffic heading towards Centurion. That's the N1 northbound between the Butler interchange and Samrad. Calvin also traveling towards Alex. Traffic heavily backed up. N3 southbound between the Butler interchange and London Road, and in the Pretoria CBD, leaving the Pretoria CBD, expect some delays in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Vormagen and the R18.
In your sport, the latest from the World Cup as the Proteas women clash with co-hosts India. Proteas lose Gwena Mapaga for Pakistan white ball tour, and Carlos Sainz slams F1 over Singapore Grand Prix television coverage.
A partly cloudy Friday with isolated showers and thundershowers expected in the evening tomorrow. Johannesburg dropping to overnight lows of 12 degrees, peaking at a high of 26. Pretoria 16 and 27, and Vereeniging 13 and 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: several electronic devices have been confiscated from the home of suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
702.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 8 minutes past 4 on a rather breathless day in South African politics. Not so much in politics, but the politics of trying to find out what's really going on in our police and criminal justice system. So just to recap on what has happened so far today, and then I'll tell you how we're going to be covering all of this. The SIU has seized property at the home of Hangwani Maumela, who has been named by the SIU, but also by investigative journalist Jeff Wicks, both in articles and a book he's written, as someone who played a central role in the looting of funds from the Tembisa hospital. Police have seized property from his home. And then police, as you heard in that bulletin, have also been at the home of Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibia. They have taken away some electronic items. General Sibia and his lawyer Ian Levitt also giving something of an impromptu it would have to be, wouldn't it? Press conference outside. So we've heard from Oren Singh about that, and I'm sure if there are updates, we'll go back to that. And then Cedric Nkabinde, who is the Chief of Staff for the suspended Police Minister, Senzo Nkunu, he's given a press conference as well, saying, we'll find out exactly what he said when we chat to our colleague Tembisa Goba, but he's saying police action is interfering with his ability and possibly the minister's team to prepare themselves for the Madlanga Commission. And then there's the problems down at Fort Hare University as well. If you missed our interview with our colleague Nokukanya Ntambo, you can pick that up on primemediaplus.com. Like I said, it's busy. It's 10 past 4.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
And good day to my fellow 702 listeners. And Tata John, this is too much with these students. They must be dealt with. They must be made example for other students to never ever do this again, no matter what they demand. Just imagine a $500 million rent, damages. Who's going to do that? Taxpayers' money. No, Tata John, this government must stand up and smell the coffee. This is a hooligan student, and then they can't say that it's not them, because, Tata John, if they never protested, the building will never get burned down. I hope, Tata John, they're getting arrested and they're being dealt severely to be an example for other ones, because we can't have students going and running amok and burning the building all over South Africa. It's the same thing. When this thing gonna end, Tata John? Thank you, Tata John. It's Joseph in Winchester.
Brad John. Afternoon, Brad John. No, man, you are disappointing me. You know, Aaron Singh raised a very important point there, or something that was worthy of probing, when was asked about being involved with criminals, and General Sibia apparently said that because he's the boss of crime intelligence, from time to time he interacts with the lawbreakers. So I would have loved to understand what does he mean by that, Brajon. I think it's something that we need to look into.
Good afternoon, Dr. John and 702 listeners. What we are witnessing or hearing today is good news, especially when those senior cops that are involved in corruption are being arrested, and people that were involved in tenders are being arrested, or at least their assets being confiscated. I mean, who in his rightful mind, even if he's got millions of money, buys 4 Lamborghinis? Yeah. Chicken are coming home to toast now, to roost. Thanks.
Chickens are coming home to roast. That's a very interesting way to put it. Thank you for that. So, look, there's a lot in those voice notes, and thank you for all of them. Let me just respond to a couple of them. First of all, on the point about, not knowing who to arrest in regard to that massive destruction of property at Fort Hare University. We've spoken a lot over many, many months and probably years about the difficulties that the country faces with what appears to frequently be ineffective public order policing. And one of the crucial elements of that public order policing, I always understood, is that you had video crews and you were filming and you were gathering evidence in the course of a conflict unfolding. So that's the first point. I would be very interested to know whether the police arrived with anything like that, or whether our public order policing units actually have video cameras anymore, the ability to record and gather evidence in that way. I'm not as taken aback as the second caller was at General Shadrach Sabia saying, in the course of gathering information about crime, I will from time to time interact with criminals. I mean, I would think, and anyone who's been a detective, please call in and tell me, maybe as a criminal lawyer, you might have a sense of that as well. I would think that interaction in and of itself is not necessarily suspicious conduct, because you're trying to gather information, you are engaging with people in a world that you are trying to better understand. It is the nature of that interaction that is what we should be probing. But the fact that the general might say, hey, listen, I've interacted with criminals a lot, because that's what I do, I don't take that amiss on the face of it. I think we'd need to know if any of those interactions were illegal or suspicious in some way. 4:15.
EWN Traffic.
Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS the word out to 45142 now. You could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Karabo Chale with the latest details. I suspect, and if I was going to Midrand, I would fear that that's where you're going to start, because it's not good.
Yeah, that's if you're leaving Sandton heading towards Midrand, there's already heavy delays. This is on the M1 northbound from Greyston Drive all the way to the Batlu interchange, and then it carries on. Those delays carry on onto the N1 northbound all the way until Samran. So allow for extra traveling time if you are leaving Sandton heading towards Centurion. Calvin, also heavy delays. This is traveling towards Alex, N3 southbound between the Batlu interchange and London Road. Bedford View. There's also slow-moving traffic N3 southbound between Linksfield Road and Van Buren. Also traveling into Bedford View. That's coming in from Edenvale, Kempton Park. Traffic pressure. R24 westbound between Edenvale Road and the Kilulis interchange. Boksburg heading towards Brakpan. Traffic congested. N17 westbound. This is due to roadworks between Osborne Road and Carnival City in the Joburg CBD. Traffic is now gridlocked. M1 south between Killarney Bends and the Crown interchange. And finally, if you're leaving the Pretoria CBD, expect some delays in Hermanstad on Eskiam Patlele between Formagen and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. The Outsurance pointsmen know that every car on the road carries a story. There's a car with a work commuter. She's done this route 1,000 times. Perhaps she's daydreaming of a different job or just counting down to the weekend. The Outsurance pointsmen know it's not just another car in traffic, it's anticipation on the move. Every story's different and every story matters. That's why the Outsurance pointsmen have been doing what they do since 2005, in proud partnership with 702. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
Bongani Bingwa, 702 Breakfast.
Weekday mornings, 6 to 9. The hospital is preparing for an inspection. All the necessary equipment is in tip-top shape. And at every other hospital, they see the same because the facilities are sharing some of the same equipment to try and pull the wool over the inspector's eyes. Dr. Sipiwe Mdaweni, are we ready for NHI?
The state of readiness can never be uniform, but we have all that it takes for our facilities to participate in the NHI.
Bongani Bingwa, 6 to 9.
On 702.
Breathe in. Insurance. Breathe out. Pineapple. In. Insurance. Breathe out. Pineapple. Again. In. Insurance. Out. Pineapple. Again. And again. Pineapple FSP 48650 is underwritten by Omart Insure Limited, a licensed non-life insurer and authorized FSP.
At Anglo American, we mine more than minerals. We mine possibility and progress with purpose. For over a century, we have been part of South Africa's story, investing in our country's potential and unlocking opportunities together. This year alone, through our Kumba iron ore business, we've invested 25.9 billion rand into South Africa. This includes infrastructure development, education and healthcare, community upliftment, and more. Follow us on our social media channels, Anglo American South Africa, and join the conversation. Anglo American, mining potential, building beyond.
Huawei Watch GT6 Series, 2025's must-have smartwatch, introducing the king of power. Up to 21 days of unstoppable battery life in a sleek titanium and ceramic design that's as strong as it's stylish. The Trackmaster with 24/7 heart rate tracking, sleep monitoring, advanced health management, and the world's first cycling virtual power feature. Fully compatible with both iOS and Android. Get yours now from just 169 Rand a month over 36 months or 4,999 Rand at selected retailers. T's and C's apply.
702 and corporates that care with Investec are talking about Investec's flagship education initiative, ProMaths, in partnership with Kutlwanong Maths, Science and Technology Center.
It started 20 years ago in Dobsonville on a pilot program with 105 pupils. Fast forward to 2025, 28,000 learners have been through the program, and we believe that the impact that this has had has been something beyond numbers, something beyond science. It's about people, purpose, and hope. And I think the ability to partner with Kutlwanong to look at how you could build something that could be replicated. So starting with one school in Dobson 20 years ago, now having 19 of these centers operating across South Africa, 10 which are sponsored by Investec and 9 by other sponsors.
Visit mywalk.org.za to learn more. Investec, out of the ordinary on 702. Let's walk the talk.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
20 minutes past 4. Well, let's turn to one of the other things that has been happening today. The raid on the home of Hangwani Maumela in Sandton. Hangwani Maumela is somebody whose name has come up regularly, the allegations against him that he used 41 companies to extract 820 million rand over 2 years through fraudulent contracts involving the Tembisa hospital. Jeff Wicks has regularly been a guest with us. He's written on this extensively on the News 24 site, been involved in the production of some television media around that as well, and most recently a book on the life and investigations of Babita Deokaran. Jeff, welcome. Good to have you back. Just remind us, Hangwani Maumela, who is he and why is he suddenly now at the center of police interest?
Good afternoon, John. So I think Hangwani Maumela is best framed as probably the chief extractor of Tembisa Hospital, as exposed by the SIU recently and previously by News 24. We know that of the more than 2 billion rand pulled from the coffers of that facility, a syndicate which he is alleged to have commanded of 41 shell companies is responsible for more than 820 million rands worth of that loot. And what we see today is really the not the culmination, but a significant milestone in a 3-year investigation by the SIU. And now we've seen his assets, not only the fleet of Lamborghinis, but also, curated artworks and other expensive trappings of wealth being pulled out of a house in Sandton and in fact in other locations across the country. And this is some long-awaited comeuppance, I would say.
So, where does this fit in with the other actions the police are taking around, firstly, Mr. Maumela, but secondly, others involved in the extraction, as you describe it, from Tembisa?
Well, that remains to be seen, John. Today's raid or preservation operation, rather, was spearheaded by the SIU. They were accompanied by the police, obviously. But we've yet to see any sort of tangible outcomes in the police's corruption investigation, which has been running since midway through 2022. And I think it's the refrain we hear from most South Africans, that they see the assets being seized and things like that, but they seldom see arrests. And it's something we still anticipate.
In terms of the timing of all of this, we've got General Shadrack Sibiya's home in Centurion being raided. We've heard that police may be going out to a car dealership out in Mpumalanga that you've referred to before. It's very, very busy, but does it have a thread? Does it have a focus? Or might this be different arms of the police all suddenly kicking into action at more or less the same time?
I'm sorry, John, I can't hear you. I've got John Matham in my ear for some reason, so I can't actually hear your question.
Okay, it must be something in our mixing desk, and our apologies for that. Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you, yes.
Okay, great. I'm glad that's sorted out. Apologies. So, Jeff, I was just asking, is there a common thread to all the things that seem to be going on at the moment, or is this to some degree coincidental, raid on General Sibiya, raid on Mr. Maumela, both on the same morning?
I would put that down to mere coincidence, John. I think there's two very distinct and disparate issues at play here. Obviously, both have a common trope about dysfunction within the police. But as we saw with the search and seizure operation carried out as regards General Sibiya, there was also, it appears, another operation targeting the Chief of Staff, Cedric Nkabinde. So I would say those are related, but would stop short of saying that the action on behalf of the SIU has anything to do with the ructions in the police.
I wonder, and I suppose I'm asking you in a way to put yourself in the shoes and heads of the people at the center of the looting from Tembisa Hospital. Is enough happening now, Jeff Wicks, for them to be getting a little nervous? Or do you think there is a kind of a bedrock belief that, this will go away because it always does?
I think to a degree, yes, I would say so. I think the profiteers and those who accepted kickbacks from them related to the Tembisa Hospital scandal would be getting quite hot under the collar. But that said, we must also take note of the fact that this has come 3 years after the investigation has started. Now, I think that tells us a lot, not really about the effort that was put into it, because I believe the SIU's done good work, but they, like many other arms of the state, are undercapacitated, and we really should have seen something like this much sooner. That said, it is a significant development, and as journalists we write and hope there'll be outcomes, and this is definitely one of those moments.
Of course, the next thing is, do all these matters get to court? And crucially, when they do the cases hold up? Do you have any sense at all, Jeff, of the extent to which the NPA is focused in on this and crucially working with the cops to make sure that when they do bring it to court, the material they present to the judge is substantial and crucially watertight?
Well, I should hope so. It's not something history has taught us to expect, but I hope certainly that the level of time and effort invested into this investigation should provide some modicum of accountability for Babita Deokaran's family, because she's at the center of this and she died reporting this. So, we know that there was a similar operation carried out by the Asset Forfeiture Unit some 3 weeks ago on the same properties, focused on the same man, and they seem to be working in step with the Hawks. They would have to. But the SIU's action today is purely civil. So it represents wars on many fronts for Mr. Maumela, but we've yet to see any sort of arrest.
Thanks so much. Jeff Wicks, News 24 investigative journalist, on the line to us, covering the latest developments in a story into which he has been digging for many, many years and coming up with some really important and interesting stuff. 27 minutes past 4.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, 111,000 points, blah, blah, blah. I suppose that'll be old news by tomorrow, but the remarkable run continues.
Indeed it does, John. Good afternoon. Gold slightly lower today. The attention moving as well towards a strengthening rand. Obviously, there's a weaker dollar around, so that kind of helps that. Platinum prices might emerge as the kind of story, simply because they've got so much further to run, and there seems to be a lot more momentum on them. The JSE All Share down 0.16% at 110,791 points. Financials up 1.72. Industrials down 0.19. And resources down 1.77. People taking a breather, a little bit of profit taking. Sapi's up 6.5%. Tungela up 5.6%. And then Pick and Pay, Discovery, First Rand, some consumer shares, but also financial shares. If you look at Discovery, First Rand, they're up by over 3%. Pick and Pay's up by 3.2%, while the Foschini Group's up by nearly 3%. And Pepcor's up by 2.5%. And PSG Finance up 2.46%. So you're seeing a bit of a broad range, if you like, financial and consumer shares doing quite nicely. Some of the platinum miners taking a little bit of a breather, I think. Implat's down 3.5%. Pan African Resources, DRD Gold, Volterra, Goldfields, AngloGold, all down by well over 2% on the day. And the real estate company Equities reporting that their net asset value per share is up by 2.7% in the 6 months to the end of August. They also say their South African properties have been driving above inflation like-for-like rental growth and positive rent reversions in the period. A couple of other important stories not directly tied to the market indices today, John. Confirmation from the JSE, their CEO Leila Fourie is stepping down. She'll leave the group at the end of March. Veldine Reddy will take over. She's currently the director of capital markets for the JSE. I don't have any numbers on this, but there are probably very few stock exchanges around the world that have seen a female CEO passing the baton on to another female CEO. So, I mean, there's a sort of a different story in there, if you like, but certainly something worth noting. And the Reserve Bank Governor Lesetso Kganyago, very interesting today in Parliament. He said that South Africa is benefiting from lower inflation. Government is too, because it's reduced borrowing costs. Also saying, he was sort of laughing about it as I understand it, he said someone suggested that he and Enoch Godongwana go for mediation in their sort of non-dispute about inflation and interest, the interest rate that should be targeted. And Godongwana said to him, I've known him since he was 24. So you don't sort of send someone to mediate in a relationship like that. I thought that was quite interesting. In the US, so the main indices subdued gains at the open. They're turning negative now. The Federal Reserve Chair Jerome Powell, he spoke. He didn't give any sort of fresh policy signals. Also, by the way, I don't know if you saw this, Jamie Dimon, the sort of legendary CEO at Citibank, he's warned of a heightened risk. JP Morgan Chase, he's warned of a heightened risk of, I love this phrase in the markets, a significant correction, by which he means people going down, and particularly in the US stock market within the next 6 months to 2 years. And it follows that Bank of England report yesterday, which was really looking at the concentration of how much money is going to just 5 or 7 companies in the US at the moment. All of that said, the gold price slightly lower than yesterday. Oh, sorry, I didn't actually give the numbers there. The Dow Jones is down 0.21. The Nasdaq is down 0.19. The S&P 500 is down 0.17. The gold price, $4,026.48 an ounce. Platinum, $1,681.50. Brent crude, slightly weaker than it has been, $66.10. And the rand to the dollar, 17.16. To the euro, 19.88. To the British pound, 22.89. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
I'm just wondering, when has anybody ever who lost a job or found the value of their savings tank say, oh, I suffered a significant correction. I don't think so.
No.
29 minutes to 5. This is 702 Drive. Stephen, back with us in about 56 minutes' time. Latest news now with Mbali Dlamini. Good afternoon.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. National Police Commissioner Hangwani Maumela has dismissed suggestions that KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is interested in politics. He also says Mkhwanazi is not interested in becoming the next head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, commonly known as the Hawks, which is rumoured to be at the centre of his fight with Deputy Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya. Maumela has been answering questions on his first day of testimony before the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee investigating police corruption and interference. Maumela took to the stand after Mkhwanazi's testimony on Tuesday and Wednesday.
No. He definitely have no interest in politics. He's just a cop doing his work, and that is it.
Maumela says it would make no sense for Mkhwanazi to apply to head the Hawks due to his salary notch being higher.
When you go to Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, he has been Lieutenant General over 10 years. So meaning his notch is far more than the most senior deputy. So practically, he can't be applying for a post where his salary will take a dip.
We take you now to a story which contains some disturbing details of sexual violence. A mother who was raped with her 2 daughters in Durban Deep, west of Johannesburg, is calling for urgent answers from police about their case. The incident took place last month while the 3 women were walking home from a local community gardening project. It's alleged that the rapist threatened the victims with a gun before raping the mother and her 18 as well as 15-year-old daughters. Ndogozo Khumalo reports.
It is understood that the family had opened a case with the Roodepoort police station but has not received any communication. Founder of NGO Women and Men Against Child Abuse, Miranda Jordan, who was called to assist the family, says they have faced difficulty in securing an arrest.
Whole family, all the females in one family. Yes. And they were promised that they were going to have counselling. They could describe him very well. In fact, even the little brother could draw a drawing. They could describe this man. They could describe everything about that. They would the next day have an identikit.
EWN has reached out to the police for comment, to no avail. Ndogozo Khumalo, Eyewitness News.
And in the Western Cape, anti-gang movement Gangsterism Must Fall says the police's new plan to tackle gang violence in Cape Town will not be enough to curb the ongoing shootings. Acting Minister for Police Feroz Kachalia presented the plan to the Select Committee on Security and Justice in Parliament yesterday. A statistic presented in Parliament shows that 490 gang-related deaths have been recorded in the province since April, 23 of them under the age of 18 and 5 under the age of 14. Carlo Peterson has more.
Gangsterism Must Fall convener Roscoe Jacobs says the SAPS's new plan to tackle gang violence in Cape Town is nothing new.
Every time when there's a new minister or new administration, there comes a new plan. And while the bureaucracy reshuffles its papers, our communities continue to bleed.
While the plan includes bolstering policing, increased crime intelligence and strengthening community policing, Jacobs says it fails to tackle the root causes of gangsterism.
The plan pays lip service to integration and partnership, but in truth it remains an enforcement-heavy reactive approach that does little to address the socio-economic conditions that breed gangsterism and violence.
Anti-crime organizations will be meeting with Acting Minister for Police Feroz Kachalia today to discuss the plan. Carlo Peterson, Eyewitness News.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with afternoon showers expected. Lows of between 12 and 16 degrees and highs of between 26 and 27.
Leaving Sandton, bumper-to-bumper traffic, M1 northbound. This is between Athol Oaklands and the Butlu interchange. Also in Midrand, we still have heavy delays on the N1 northbound from the Butlu interchange to Samran. And in Boksburg, traffic congested. N17 eastbound between Osborne and Carnival City due to roadworks.
The top story in EWN, National Police Commissioner Hangwani Maumela has dismissed suggestions that KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi has an interest in politics.
Aubrey Masango.
Weekday evenings,
8 to midnight.
The Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee into the allegations made by Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi kicked off. It is a platform of politicians. What I can guarantee you is that we are about to watch a spectacle. So what are they going to do? They're going to take this moment to subtly campaign for their own political parties. It's the very same parliament that ignored the same information that Mkhwanazi gave them a few months ago. Now that the cameras are going to be on them,
Aubrey Masango.
8 to midnight on 702.
702.
At the heart of global conversations shaping the future, Africa's voice matters more than ever. As Africa's largest bank by assets and lead sponsor of the B20 Summit, Standard Bank Group is proud to spotlight the continent's growth, partnerships and potential on the world stage. Through informed dialogue and powerful partnerships, Standard Bank is driving sustainable growth where it matters most. Standard Bank is an authorized FSP and registered credit provider.
Running a business is tough. You need tools that just work. That's why more South African businesses are switching to Mac. At iStore, we make it easy with 4,000 rands in added value when you switch. That's 3 years extended warranty and remote tech support, leaving you to focus on everything else. Switch to Mac with iStore, your expert partner. T's and C's apply. Mac at iStore. Run smooth as business should.
EWN Sport.
Okay, let's get ourselves out to India. The hosts are up against South Africa's Proteas women. The Indians are battered. The South Africans are at the crease. Tolakele Mganga has the story of what's happened so far and what's happening right now.
Thanks so much, John. And India were all out for 251 in their clash against the Proteas women, as Richa Ghosh top scored with 94, while Chloe Traron finished with figures of 3 for 32. In response, South Africa are currently 9 for the loss of 1 in the fourth over. They still need 243 runs for victory. Batting is Sune Lusson on 1 alongside captain Laura Woutvaart on 7. Switching over to football, where Bafana are gearing up for tomorrow's must-win 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifier against Zimbabwe. Spelele Sithole is back in the team following his recovery from injury and says the message is clear for the players as they seek to qualify for a first World Cup in 23 years.
We know that this game against Zimbabwe it's a do or die game. Like, we have to win it if we really want to go to the World Cup. This game is a must win for us. So everyone is prepared for that. Everyone knows that we have to win it no matter what. We also want to make all the country proud because we haven't qualified to go to the World Cup in the last 24 years. So now I think it's a big chance for us to make all the country proud.
Boca Juniors have expressed profound sadness after their manager Miguel Angel Russo died on Wednesday at the age of 69. Russo had been diagnosed with prostate cancer in 2017 and was forced to step down from his day-to-day management duties at the club because of his illness. He last attended a game on the 21st of September. That's when Boca drew 2-2 with Central Cordoba in the Argentine Premier Division. Over to the United Rugby Championship, where the Sharks will welcome back their Springboks. That's for Saturday's third-round clash with Leinster. Ethan Hooker and Makazola Mapimpi have been named in the starting 15, while Bongi Monambi and Vincent Gocha on the bench. And having drawn 1 and lost 1 game on tour, Senta Lukanyo Am is hoping to end it on a high.
It's the last game on tour, and we're facing a quality side, the champs, and I think it's one game that everyone is looking forward to play, and I think for them we've got a lot to prove, playing Leinster at their home ground. So yeah, really looking forward to it.
And Novak Djokovic has made history by becoming the oldest player to reach an ATP 1000 semi-final. That's after beating Zizou Berg 6-3 and 7-5 and the Shanghai Masters. Djokovic is favourite to win a record-extending 41st ATP 1000 event, as Carlos Alcaraz didn't enter the tournament, while Jannik Sinner retired in the third round due to cramp. Tolakele Mganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
At 20 to 5, this EWN Traffic is brought to you by Bridgestone Tyres, prepared to perform whatever the terrain. If you're leaving Sandton, you might be here a while.
Yeah, you can expect about a 20-minute delay. This is in the Sandton area, heading towards Midrand, M1 North, between Ethel Oaklands and the Patlu interchange. Further up, N1 North, also bumper-to-bumper traffic. That's in Midrand, between the Patlu interchange and Samrand. Heading towards Bedfordview in the Calvin area, traffic remains heavily backed up. N3 South This is between the Battery Interchange and London Road. In Bedford View, also slow-moving traffic on the N3 South from Linksfield Road to Van Buren. Edenville traveling towards Bedford View. Traffic pressure R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Giluli's Interchange. Boksburg traffic remains congested. N17 eastbound. That's between Osborne Road and Carnival City due to ongoing roadworks. If you are leaving the Pretoria CBD, there's also some delays in Hermanstad on Eskiam Pahlele between Vormhagen and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072 702 1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Weekdays on the highway, weekends on the trail, in rain, on tar, or halfway up a gravel pass. With the new Bridgestone Jeweler All-Terrain AT002, you don't have to choose. Bridgestone, prepared to perform whatever the terrain.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
18 minutes to 5 on 702 Drive. Now, earlier in the show, if you were listening right at the beginning, I referred to the fact that the Chief of Staff of Police Minister Senzo Mqunu, Cedric Nkabinde is his name, would be speaking, and I thought he was going to be talking about the Police Minister and responding to some of the things that have come up both at the Madlanga Commission and at the Parliamentary Ad Hoc Committee. But it seems that Mr. Nkabinde has a story of his own to tell, and he certainly told it to a considerable degree of attention and interest from the assembled media, amongst whom was our EWN colleague Tembisa Goba. Tembisa, good afternoon to you. Cedric Nkabinde has his own thing that he's dealing with. What is it exactly?
Good afternoon, Juna. I mean, it's all happening today, is it not?
It is, rather.
So Cedric Nkabinde, he's in his media briefing. So he says that last night he lives in Midrand. He has a flat in Midrand where he lives. So he says there was a police raid. He says police dressed in balaclavas, carrying automatic rifles. They raided his home and he wasn't there, but his brother was there.
Right.
His brother looks a bit like him. The police thought that the brother was him and they ended up assaulting him. Eventually, they actually found out that actually this is not the person we're looking for, and that, you know, and they asked his brother to actually point to them to where Nkabinde was, but his brother obviously didn't know. So now he says that the police were actually there to confiscate his electronic devices.
Okay.
And he believes that there wasn't a warrant for that for the police to actually seize those warrants. And I think it's actually interesting because obviously, I'm sure if you've spoken to our colleague Oren Singh, he's actually at the Centurion home of the Deputy Police Commissioner, where a similar warrant of seizing electronic devices is also happening. So Nkabinde says that he still has his electronic devices with him. He says those devices have a lot of evidence that he plans to present to, one, the Madlanga Commission, but also the ad hoc committee in Parliament that's also investigating undue political interference in the justice sector. So he also spoke around a number of things, and he said that he fears for his life.
Mm-hmm.
Now, you remember, John, that Cedric Nkabinde used to work for IPID, the police watchdog. And when he was speaking, John, he mentioned something that I thought was obviously very important. He said that there are cases, he knows personally, there are cases of police planting a gun at someone's house and then shooting them and killing them. And I asked him at the same time he mentioned that. I was like, have you ever reported something like this? You know, if you were the chief of staff to the police minister, I mean, you in the police sector, if these are very serious allegations, these are serious things that you're raising now in public. Have you ever reported anything like that? And he said, no, he hasn't reported them, but these are things he has seen when he worked at IPID, and these are things that IPID is investigating. So he says, one, he fears for his life, and he says that he still has his electronic devices, and that he's asked that he also said something that if anything were to happen to him, the National Police Commissioner, Hangwani Maumela, would be to blame, and that he's asked that if the police want to arrest him, or if they want to seize any of his documents, they have to go through his lawyer, because he believes that there's a lot of evidence that he's willing to present it to the commission, and he doesn't want it to be in the hands of the police. He doesn't trust the police, and he doesn't feel that he would actually be in a situation where that evidence would be safe if it were to be in the hands of the police.
So, Tembisa, there's so much that you've told us, and I want to go back on a couple of things. I mean, firstly, he said, he's got a lawyer, and his lawyer needs to be involved if the police want to engage with him. What was the lawyer present? And if so, did the lawyer give any inputs that we ought to know about?
No, the lawyer was present, but the lawyer didn't speak at the media briefing, but he was present. Actually, the media briefing was held at the lawyer's offices here in Sandton, not too far from our studios.
So let's understand a few things more carefully. The police go to his flat. He's not there. They're there to confiscate devices. Did they take anything away at all?
Well, according to him, they couldn't find what they were looking for, because as he said, that his phone obviously was on his person, his laptop is obviously on his person too, and that the police left there very frustrated, and they said something that he obviously was relaying from his brother, that they can't go back to KZN without having anything. Now, I mean, obviously, it is an open secret that there are sort of factions within the KZN, not within the police sector. There's a faction, obviously, one with Mkhwanazi and Masemola, and there's another faction, obviously, with Mchunu and Shadrack Sibia, and obviously Cedric Kabinde being a very close person and a close the chief of staff to the police minister. So obviously you can imagine which faction he does fall in. And this is something we asked him and said, can you give us a bit of insight into what is happening here? Can you just take the public into what is happening here? What are the factions within the police? And I mean, a lot is happening. Can you just give us a bit of insights? And he said that, he understands a lot is happening. He wants his time in the Madlanga Commission. He wants his time in Parliament to actually tell the truth. And he says, him coming out in public, calling the media, is the best way for him to actually save himself by saying that I'm here, I want to present myself so that nothing ever happens to him.
Yo. It's been a day of yo. But thank you very much, Tembisa Gorba, right on top of that story. Cedric Nkabinde, who's Chief of Staff to suspended Police Minister Senzo Mchunu, briefing the media saying 15 to 20 men entering his flat, he says without a warrant, dressed in balaclavas with high-caliber rifles, there to collect his electronic equipment. 11 minutes to 5.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Dumela Ntate John. It's 7 here from Dobsonville. Ntate John, what's the point? These people are doing all these operations, all good and well. It's publicized. They're confiscating people's cars and their houses, but the guys are not getting arrested. What's the point? This is a show. Arrest the guys. Give us that confidence that the guys are going to wear their overall. Arrest them and let them go out on bail and then go to court. Where is Edin Sodi? They did the same exercise with him. He's out. He's still getting tenders. The water tender in question in Amaskal, in Temba. He's there. Edwin Sodi is there. He's operational. The Guptas, they did the same thing. Where are they? India, Dubai. Aibo, bangadlali ngathi.
Oh, John, my poor heart, it shudders. Because anybody knows that runs a business, you have something called an asset register. And that asset register has to be checked. And where's the auditors? The auditors, I mean, I've worked for 46 years at different companies. And the first thing the auditors walk in, they want to know where is the asset register. And you have to prove where every single asset is. So I'm sorry, this is just going back to basics.
Yeah, there's a lot going on, and Simon throws this out for us to consider. He says it'll be interesting who's now ordering these raids, especially when both the Commission and the Parliament are still investigating. Are the police already working on arresting all those implicated by General Mkhwanazi before we've even heard their side of the story? So I must say my first response to what Simon sent was to say you cannot delay the execution of policing duties because somebody hasn't yet appeared before a commission of inquiry. The two, to my mind, if the police believe they have a substantial reason to come to my house, either to confiscate certain things, usually laptops and phones, freeze assets if that's the purpose of the visit. They can't wait for that moment at which I get called before a commission, because then you could stretch the point and say, well, we have to wait until you finished at the commission. And then we have to wait until the commission is pronounced on the veracity or otherwise of what you said. All of that said, I think Simon is raising an interesting point, because you always ask in South Africa, when there are politically connected crimes, why now, given that we have, as we heard in the first voice note, such long periods of either inactivity or no activity at all? So, food for thought, Simon. Thank you for that. I don't think we should wait until people have done their time at the commission, but I think to ask a question about timing is to ask a very good question indeed. 8 minutes to 5.
John is on X.
At John Perlman.
Well, it's that time of the week where we do what we call your house, your home, and we look at the many aspects of the place where you live. It might be practical stuff like gardening or cleaning gutters or making choices around curtains or whatever. And then we look at the legal stuff as well, renting, leasing, buying, selling. Today we are very much in the legal space and focusing our attention on disputes that are going on, and they're substantial in a number of these complexes, sectional title complexes, residential estates, and I know from personal experience it happens in blocks of flats as well. What is the right decision that recognizes everybody's rights in regard to short-term letting? Because some people buy places to live, some people get in tenants who are there for a year or two, whatever the contract is, and then other people want to use the places as, for example, Airbnb establishments. So let's get into some of the issues and try and understand them a little bit better. Nicole Nell is Senior Community Schemes Consultant at TBDM Consultants. Ms. Nell, welcome, and thanks very much for your time. My understanding is everybody who owns property in a shared space, be it a complex, a residential estate, or a block of flats, needs to make a decision and vote on whether they're prepared to have Airbnb or not. Is it that simple, or does it get more complicated? Good afternoon.
Hi, John. Thanks so much for having me. So to answer your question bluntly, yes and no.
Okay.
So in our company, we like to take the stance of, we aren't against short-term letting per se. And, being from the Western Cape and Cape Town, I know it works very differently down here than with you folks up there. But in our opinion, it really is in the hands of the members when they, take on or inherit the body corporate, whether they want to make stricter or more lenient rules regarding short-term letting. And in our opinion, it's not actually the short-term letting itself that is the issue, but rather the behavioral issues such as noise complaints, increased foot traffic, security instances. That's what's causing the issue.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, the thing that Roy Cocaine's written about, excellent article on the Money website, is in regard to the Blader Riverwalk estate. Now, when they complete that, at the moment they've got 1,157 units. There will eventually be 3,281. So it is a massive, massive area of shared living space. If they were to try and get some sort of consensus on that, I would have thought they would have done a remarkable job. But in the absence of that consensus, is it the rules that apply? In other words, if the conduct rules in the place say no short-term lets, that ought to be it, finished and clear. Is that indeed the case?
Yes, well, in our opinion, it certainly is. Unfortunately, if you're strictly thinking in terms of sectional title legislation, the Sectional Title Schemes Management Act very clearly says that the body corporate, by special resolution, can amend the conduct rules. And, once if they do make the move to amend conduct rules to put in strict prohibitions or restrictions against short-term letting, and 75% of members vote in favor of that resolution, the meeting was validly called, it was
Yes.
quorate, all of those things. Unfortunately, it is legally binding. And in our opinion, it's quite difficult then for a single owner or some owners who would then fall, one would think, in the minority of not voting against the special resolution for these strict restrictions. It would be difficult for them to make an argument that it's unreasonable when they are in the clear minority
Yes.
of the owners in that instance, yeah.
So do you need to, though, Ms. Nell, then get consensus? And I don't know if it would again be pitched at 75% on under what circumstances and sets of rules, because there's the blanket thing. Okay, you can, let's just stay with Airbnb. You can do that, but there are many ways of doing it. For example, some people, and this is a block of flats I know about well, say, well, you can't let it out for less than 3 nights. So, for example, if someone just wants a space for a party, you can't do that. I mean, it doesn't prevent it, but it certainly closes down some of the space. Other rules might apply. Yeah. You can only have certain kind of tenants who, on the letting platform, have demonstrated that they're reliable and don't smash the place up. I mean, do the rules also have to get similar consensus?
Yes, absolutely. So any guidelines or restrictions or anything like that, and you've touched on some key points like a minimum night stay, making the tenant sign a copy of the rules perhaps is also one that we recommend, vetting tenants, all of those things are good restrictions, but they all need to be formally approved by the members. And more importantly, they only truly become validly binding once they are approved by the Community Schemes Ombud Service. And interestingly, the Community Schemes Ombud Service has a very neutral view on short-term letting,
right,
similarly to how they feel about pets, in the sense that they truly believe that it is something that is within the realms of the scheme itself, so dependent on the needs of the scheme, what the members want. They feel that it would be improper for them to make a general view or opinion towards short-term letting because it is so down to the unique setup of your scheme and what your members want.
Thank you so much, Nicole Nell, Senior Community Schemes Consultant at TVDM Consultants. Maybe this is something that's come into your life if you're living in shared space of one kind or another. Experiences to share, some wise words, drop us a note. 072 702 1702 and 011 883 0702. 2 minutes now to 5 o'clock.
Clement Maniatella.
Weekday mornings,
9 to 12.
9 to 12.
If he has reason to believe that there are certain journalists who are compromised, is it wrong for him to suggest an investigation?
Let him put the reason on the table. You can't just go around unleashing investigations on people at a broader level. I agree with you. If you know you haven't done anything wrong, you shouldn't be afraid of any investigation. But at the same time, you can't have a commissioner just behaving like a tin pot dictator, saying, oh, what did Clement say about me? No, I didn't like that. Counterintelligence, you are unleashed. Go and find whatever you can find.
Yeah.
I think that is nonsense.
Makudu Sifara.
Clement Maniatella.
9 to 12 on 702.
You could spend 10 minutes trying to fix the office printer or get a 10-minute quote from Outsurance that could save you thousands on your car insurance. For her 2025 Hyundai Exter, 65-year-old Helena now pays only 398 Rand a month. And for her 2024 Haval H6 4x4, 50-year-old Priya pays just 1,178 Rand a month. Ready to get more out of your car insurance? SMS out to 45142. That's out to 45142. Outsurance, licensed insurer and FSP. KCs and information online.
Join us for the Clash of the Titans at the Inando Polo Club on the 19th of October, where Africa unites through polo. Proudly brought to you by Titan Law in association with Polo South Africa. Don't miss out. Book your spot on Howler.
This is EWN.
Shadrach Sibiya feels betrayed by his colleagues, and the deadline hits for 4th-year students to vacate the institution. Good afternoon, I'm Bali Dlamini. Suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya feels hard done by the manner in which heavily armed operatives entered his home in Centurion this afternoon. Some 50 members attached to the National Intervention Unit, Special Task Force and Crime Intelligence acted on a search and seizure warrant, barging into Sibiya's home earlier today. Sibiya claims the warrant was in relation to an ongoing case against him related to defeating the ends of justice, money laundering and corruption. Several cell phones and laptops were confiscated by the team, with Sibiya admitting he was under the impression he was going to be arrested. Oren Singh reports.
Seasoned cop Shadrack Sibiya says he's been under surveillance since he was suspended as Deputy National Police Commissioner. Sibiya addressed the media outside his family home in Centurion following a search and seizure operation by SAPS.
We are under siege here. It's helicopters, it's surveillance, left, right and center. This is abuse of power. Yesterday there was a black X3 there, and then as you come out you will see there's a car that side and there's a car that side. I mean, this is what I have to live with at this present moment.
Sibiya says he feels betrayed by police management, but he will not back down.
And I wish my colleagues could be at least thinking for my kids, my family. They haven't done anything wrong for them to be traumatized like this. I know they want to push me out. I will never resign. They must fire me.
Sibiya will appear before Parliament's ad hoc committee on Monday. Oren Singh, Eyewitness News, Centurion.
At the same time, the Chief of Staff to Police Minister Senzo Mchunu claims there's a target on his back, saying law enforcement officers raided his home and assaulted his brother. Cedric Nkabinde believes police mistook his brother for him. He says the incident took place last night. Nkabinde has been holding a media briefing in Sandton this afternoon to respond to some of the allegations against him. Nkabinde says the police were there to seize his electronic gadgets.
They entered my flat and they thought my brother was myself, and they demanded to search the flat without showing any warrant or any search warrant. When the brother is asking them to show a search warrant, they started to assault him with the firearms butt.
Let's take you to another search and seizure operation now. Lawyers representing tender tycoon Hangwani Maumela are currently locked in discussions with curators from the Special Investigating Unit over an ongoing raid at his Sandton property. The SIU has raided Maumela's opulent 3-story mansion in Sandton today as part of investigations into corruption linked to the Tembisa hospital tenders. Maumela has been linked to irregular contracts at that hospital, which were initially flagged by murdered whistleblower Babita Diokaran. Amongst the assets seized this afternoon are 3 Lamborghini vehicles, valuable artwork and a massage parlor. Alpha Ramashwana joins us live now on the line from Maumela's home here in Sandton. Alpha, can you talk us through what you have witnessed during the SIU's operation this afternoon?
Of course, Mbali, behind the high walls at businessman Hangwani Maumela's lavish mansion, dozens of law enforcement officers and furniture removal personnel can be seen. Journalists have been denied entry to the property, but from the limited view that we have from outside, movement of SIU officials can be seen. It's understood that Maumela's lawyers are in talks with the SIU's curators, Mbali, about the unit's plans to seize more of its assets. SIU spokesperson Ngwako Mutsieng, who spoke to us earlier, says that the SIU will soon publicize the details of today's raid.
Unfortunately, we are tied at the moment. We can't say much except to confirm that the operation is linked to the implementation of the SIU's investigation outcomes and consequence management.
Well, Mbali, the SIU says more assets could be seized from his property in the coming days. For Eyewitness News, I'm Alpha Ramshwana reporting live from Sandton.
Let's shift now to the Eastern Cape, where student leaders at the University of Fort Hare's Alice campus have again called for Vice-Chancellor Sakela Buhlungu to step down over what they say are unresolved governance issues. The calls come after university management issued an eviction notice to clear out the main campus after 2 buildings were torched in a protest yesterday. The deadline was 5 p.m. Nogukanya Mdambo is there with the latest now. Nogukanya, what is expected to happen now that the clock has struck 5?
Well, Mbali, a majority of the students here have opted rather not to take their chances and to obey the eviction order, despite actually being told to stay put by student leaders. Those that are defiant have instead opted to gather in one spot. Safety in numbers, they say. Now, those student leaders who are part of those who have gathered in this one spot have been told that there's an internal circular that's been issued telling campus security to do door-to-door inspections, threatening to forcefully remove the defined groups that are across the campus. Earlier, in fact, Mbali, I sat in on a Teams meeting with former student leaders from various organizations that I spoke about earlier, SASCO, COPE, EFF, Student Command, and at least one official from the Department of Higher Education in what appears to have been a last-ditch attempt to resolve the impasse. But student leaders in that meeting really told the department that their sole demand now is for VC Sakela Buhlungu to stand down, and they won't, agree to any other conversations outside of that. And they expect the department to deliberate on a way forward and to return with answers in at least the next 2 days. Police vans aren't on the inside of the premises. They're still on the outside, on the perimeters, and on standby. For now, it's really anyone's guess, Mbali, what the next hour will look like. But some of those who are still here seem to be a little shaken and panicked about where to go from here without any money really to go home. Nogukanye Mdambo, Eyewitness News reporting live in beginning in the Eastern Cape.
And further afield, UK Prime Minister Keir Starmer has hailed the new Gaza ceasefire deal as a moment of profound relief. During a press conference with India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi in Mumbai, Starmer welcomed the deal, saying it's a step in the right direction. Earlier today, Israel and Hamas agreed to a Gaza ceasefire deal to free the remaining hostages. Starmer says this is a major step towards ending a war that has killed tens of thousands of people.
This is a moment of profound relief that we felt around the world, but particularly for the hostages, their families, and for the civilian population of Gaza.
Gold is trading at $4,039.09 an ounce. The rand is at 17.13 to the dollar, 22.94 to the pound, 19.93 to the euro, and Brent crude oil is at $66.25 a barrel.
In the traffic, it's raining cats and dogs in Joburg at this hour, so please take it easy out there. Maintain a safe following distance and keep your headlights on. At this stage in Boksburg, you can also expect about a 20-minute delay on the N17 eastbound between Osborne Road and Carnival City due to ongoing roadworks. And in Jet Park, still in Boksburg, expect more than a 30-minute delay on several routes, including the R21 Rietfontein Road, Jet Park Road, as well as Janssen Avenue.
In your sport, the latest from the World Cup as the Proteas women clash with co-host India. Proteas lose Kwena Mapaga for Pakistan white ball tour. And Carlos Sainz slams F1 over Singapore Grand Prix television coverage.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with afternoon showers expected. Joburg dropping to overnight lows of 12 degrees, peaking at 26. Pretoria 16 and 27, and Vereeniging 13 at a high of 27 degrees. The top story in EWN this hour: suspended Deputy National Police Commissioner Shadrack Sibiya feels hard done by the manner in which heavily armed operatives entered his home in Centurion.
EWN, in touch, in tune and independent. For the latest, visit ewn.co.za or download the EWN app.
7:02.
Drive home with John Perlman.
John Perlman, 3 to 6 p.m.
On 92.7 and 106 FM. Let's walk the talk.
7:02 Drive, it's 5:10, and it's great to have you with us on the show. Coming up, we're going to clock in with that parliamentary ad hoc committee looking into the many issues raised all those months back, because it is back in July, I think it was, by Lieutenant General Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi. Commissioner Mkhwanazi, he is the police commissioner for KZN. Babalo Ndenze keeping an eye on that. I want to also talk a little bit later about a rather severe traffic jam I found myself in, and we're talking about it because it was, I wouldn't say a planned traffic jam, but it was a traffic jam that resulted from planning. I'll make that all clear a little bit later, and we're talking about it because it's going to happen again, and you need to know about when, and you need to know about where. That conversation with JMPD's Xolani Fihla coming up at about 22 minutes past 5. Quick response to something Tola Kele said in her sport headlines there. She spoke about it a little bit earlier in her bulletin. Carlos Sainz, the racing driver, is complaining about the way they've been covering, they covered the Singapore Grand Prix. And his beef is that there were important things happening on the track, but the TV cameras were showing, as he put it, celebrities and their girlfriends. And I must admit, I found that a little bit annoying at tennis. There seems to be more obsession, both at the French Open and the US, less so at Wimbledon, with who's in the crowd. And in fairness, they don't do that while a point is being played. But I'm curious to know, because I have had to accept over quite a long period of time that I'm not necessarily the core target market for many forms of media. But does it interest you to see celebrities and have people talk about them while tennis or motor racing or whatever's going on? Happy to be in a minority and accept that, particularly if I've recorded it, I can always fast forward. 702 Drive, it's 11 minutes past 5. Lots of you with lots to say about the various police activities that have been going on today. Let's hear your thoughts.
Good afternoon, Tate John. Yeah, Tate John, days are not the same. That's why I understand that days are not the same. There is a day to buy Lamborghinis and a day to let them go. There's a day to be freely playing with the criminals and a day to be bound together with the criminals. There is a day to reap and there's a day to sow. The days are different, Tate John. Let the law take its course.
Hi, John and the team. With all police shenanigans, I've been asking myself, where is Pop Group? Where is the police union? Because their members are affected and some they are involved in all those shenanigans. Where are they? And what is the role of the union? Just to collect the union dues? David.
Hey, Uncle John, today it's happening in Mzansi. It's happening. Yeah, Mkonazi, is the man. He's the man. Those who thought that they can continue with their criminal element in the country, Mkonazi exposed them, and now you see press conference corner to corner. Nkabinde, you see Sevilla. Now the police minister is coming, is next to give us a press conference. It's happening in the country. Even the other one, the Cyril Ramaphosa's nephew, they are also at his house today. It's happening in Mzansi, join Pretoria. I like it. Something is happening.
Well, something is happening, but a lot more needs to happen for anybody to say, well, as a result of all of this, the police are going to get cleaned up and people who are alleged to be guilty of things will be proven so in a court of law. I agree. Activity, perhaps even in some people's minds, a good start. But this is maybe not a marathon, but it's a long race. A long, long run indeed. We await the next development. 702 Drive, it's 14 past 5.
EWN Traffic.
This EWN Traffic is brought to you by Cars.coza. Let's find what moves you. Traffic and rain do not tend to mix particularly well, do they?
Yeah, John. Wet, slippery roads in rainy Joburg at this hour, so please take it easy out there. Maintain a safe following distance and keep your headlights on. Let me start in the Joburg CBD. While leaving the Joburg CBD heading towards Cleveland, there's an accident scene M2 eastbound near George Koch, and this is causing heavy delays all the way from Joe Slover Drive. Midrand, bumper traffic still N1 north from the Bethlehem interchange all the way to Samrand. In Edenville, traffic pressure R24 westbound between Edenville Road and the Gilulis interchange. In Boksburg, you can expect about a 20-minute delay heading towards Brakpan. This is on the N17 eastbound between Osborne Road and the Carnival City due to roadworks. Jet Park, Boksburg, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay. This is on several roads, including the R21 Rietfontein Road, Jet Park Road, as well as Janssen Avenue in the Pretoria CBD, heading towards Hermanstad. There's slow-moving traffic on Eskiam Pahlele between Formhagen and the R80. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app. Majestic handling. A V8
Cars.coza.
horsepower that is.
Cars.coza.
This is very annoying. I'm trying to read a car radio advertisement.
Whatever car you want to buy or sell, cut through the and just go to cars.coza and let's find what moves you. Cars.coza.
Smart Steve from Momentum, hello.
Smart Steve, my daughter just turned 18, right? And now she's got a license and a boyfriend.
You're worried about her safety. With Momentum Safety Alert, she can access help 24/7.
Is that the emergency response version of Curry in a Hurry?
For sure. She can get help at the touch of a button for free.
Free? For all that and all?
Visit momentum.co.za or call 0860 006 784. Momentum Insure, keeping you safe on your journey to success. Momentum Insure is an authorized non-life insurer. T's and C's apply.
Tip your way to glory in the Hollywood Bets Punters Challenge, the free-to-play horse racing game with daily cash giveaways and massive jackpot prizes. Pick all the winners on the race card and you could win 100,000 Rand. Bet 50 Rand or more on your selections using the Bet Slip feature and you could walk away with 1 million Rand. Visit punterschallenge.hollywoodbets.net today and tip your way to the top. T's and C's apply. Hollywood Sportsbook is a licensed betting operator. No persons under the age of 18 years are permitted to gamble. Winners know when to stop. South African Responsible Gambling Foundation toll-free counseling line 0800 006 008.
Connectivity is where it all starts, but it's only the beginning. From AI to cloud to cybersecurity and IoT, Vodacom Business offers so much more, powering South Africa's boldest organizations. Always connected, always protected, always moving forward. Named South Africa's most trusted enterprise telecommunications provider 2 years running. Search Vodacom Business. Together, let's build the extraordinary. Vodacom Business. Further together.
The Money Show.
Weekday evenings at 6.
The issue around critical minerals, which suddenly everyone's talking about, partly because of the Trump administration. Is there an opportunity there for us?
Platinum is a critical mineral on most countries' list, including the US or PGMs, platinum and palladium. So yes, there we are, direct beneficiary. You also get to other things that South Africa happens to be well endowed with, like manganese, features very high on many countries.
Bernard Swanepoel, chair of the Joburg Mining and Darburn.
The Money Show
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
The Money Show, Stephen Curtis, is brought to you by ABSA. ABSA is a proud lead sponsor of B20 South Africa 2025. ABSA is an authorized FSP and a registered credit provider. T's and C's apply.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive, it's 18 minutes past 5. Down to Parliament we go. The ad hoc committee looking into various aspects around the police and the criminal justice system is underway. And for most of today, in fact, all of today, answering questions and still doing so is the National Police Commissioner General Hangwani Maumela. Babalo Ndenze has been keeping an eye on things. Babalo, very good afternoon to you. Some, of course, of the proceedings have been putting facts on the record, going over the general's career and all those kinds of things. But in the course of all of that, with evidence leader Norman Arendse still asking the questions, what of great interest has come out for you? Good afternoon.
Yes, good afternoon, John. Yes, indeed, Norman Arendse is still putting questions to National Police Commissioner Hangwani Maumela. And he's focusing now, for most of today, he's been focusing on the formation of the political killings task team, as well as its disbandment, or as well as the alleged corrupt relationship between senior leadership, between members of the public and the police, and the work of the police, as well as the alleged moratorium on filling of key vacancies in the SAPS. And so we also looked at some of the background matters to put it on the record, as well as looking into structures of the SAPS, as well as his, constitutional responsibilities, etc. Another key focus on the minister's directive that called for the immediate disestablishment of the political killings task team on New Year's Eve last year, the 31st of December, and certain emails from Brigadier Ndlogo, as well as how emails were sent by Shadrack Sibia, in relation to this directive by Minister Senzo Mchunu. And so they also, Masemola also, responded to some of these issues, and he also made some remarks about not being aware of the directive. He says Minister Senzo Mchunu gave no reasons when he met with him quite a few times to question him about this disbandment of the task team. He says it was, quite suspicious. The decision was done quite hastily. He suggested that it should be done in phases. It should be phased out. It should not just be, done abruptly. And he says this was done abruptly, and it was quite devastating. The manner, that's the word he used, it was quite devastating, the manner that this task team was disestablished, and this decision came out of nowhere. Norman Arons also, asked him about, issues around, the performance of the task team. He says, he asked him whether there were any improvements since that July the 6th press conference by Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi, as far as issues that are affecting, the task team, as well as the criminal justice system as a whole, in registering cases, etc., and getting matters on the court roll. And Norman Arons asked him if there were any improvements in this regard. And Fanny Masemola said, yes, indeed, there were improvements. And it looks like that 6th July press conference did actually, bring some positive. But just take a listen to what he said exactly, John.
For example, with regard to enrollment of cases, I would say it improved quite drastically. In the past, I know that it would take various members and/or even the PKTT tremendous effort to get cases enrolled, and they will be shown from one pillar to post, and nobody being prepared to make a decision, because it's either you make a decision whether there is a case or there is no case to answer, simple as that. But they will be shown from pillar to post.
Yeah, it's interesting, the kind of timelines of these things. I mean, the one question, I don't know if Norman Arons raised this, Babalo, just to conclude, is we've heard both at the Madlanga Commission and now in Parliament that this was all being done, and I have not heard yet from General Masemola any clear explanation as why he didn't sound the alarm, push back, call it what you like, but say, hang on a moment, Minister, don't do this.
Yes, they did touch on that a bit, but as far as pushing back on it, Fanny Masemola, he didn't push back in that sense, but he did raise it with the minister a number of times at meetings, and the minister just basically ignored his questions. He would not respond or give him the reasons. He says he'd asked him, when they would meet in either the minister's office or wherever, that what are the reasons for this? Because he says he did not disagree with the disbandment or the directive, and he even says that he, at some point before this disbandment, this was late last year, he met with the minister. In fact, they spent a week together in KZN, in Richards Bay for a funeral of a SAPS member where they were together. And he spent quite a number of days with the minister. And he says at no point did the minister even mention this to him once. And he only found out actually after the 31st of December last year that this matter was actually happening. So he had no luck as far as getting explanations from the minister or getting any proper reasons, either in writing or verbally. And he's continuing with this evidence now as we speak. And he's saying that basically, everything that he just basically hit a brick wall when he was looking for any reasons. And, he did make his feelings known about, the performance of the team. It's quite successful. He also lists its successes and, quite a number of cases. But, unfortunately, the minister never really gave him any reasons. Right. And that's where he left it, because at the time he was still on leave. And he says that's where it ended.
Babalo Ndenze, thank you. Back into that ad hoc committee because it's still going on. Norman Arons, Advocate Norman Arons, evidence leader, and National Police Commissioner Fanny Masemola in conversation. 25 minutes past 5.
Drive home with John Perlman
on 702. Let's walk the talk.
Just to remind you that in addition to listening to us on whatever device you listen to 702 and 702 Drive on, you can also watch us on YouTube. We will try to remember to behave and smile a lot. But seriously, though, it's quite fun. You can see the studio, you can see guests who come in, and you can see the entire team. Go to YouTube, type in 702 Drive with John Perlman live, and you'll find us there. Right, let's talk about this. Now, today I found myself in a rather strange traffic jam. And I'll describe it very briefly for you and then welcome a guest who can explain to us what was going on. The reason I'm talking about my own personal traffic jam, I wasn't alone, as one isn't generally in a traffic jam, is because it's going to happen again. So let me set the scene. Come off the Grayston off-ramp, having driven on the M1 North. And the traffic is jammed solid and it is stopped dead. The strange thing is the other side of the road on Grayston, which is heading from Rivonia Road, if people who know that area, heading eastwards in a bid to get onto the M1, is open, but there is no traffic moving down there. Now, my understanding is this all has to do with the G20. So let's find out why the G20, which is not due to start for a good many weeks, is causing some of us, and if you were there, you might want to call in and share a thought, to sit there for around 20-25 minutes. Xolani Fihla is JMPD spokesperson, and he joins us now. Mr. Fihla, I understand from an officer I spoke to on the scene that this was some sort of dry run. Dry run for what?
Thank you so much for the opportunity from you, John, and also greet the listeners. As law enforcement agencies, we have been conducting some simulations and dry runs that's in preparation for the G20 summit, which will be taking place on the weekend of the 22nd and the 23rd of November. It will be happening at the Nasrec Expo Center. But due to these simulations, of course, it is affecting traffic as you were stuck in traffic on Grayston Drive. And the affected areas will definitely then be Sandton and Nasrec Precinct, where the summit will be taking place.
So, could you have let us know? I spoke to my colleague Karabo Chale, whose job it is to know what's going on in all matters traffic. And he said, no, he'd never heard anything about it. I mean, are you trying, is it deliberate not to let us know because you want to simulate a real life situation with people going nuts? Or was that an oversight?
Not necessarily to make people go nuts, but due to the sensitivity of the operation and some of the information which is a bit confidential at the moment, like the routes that will be affected and identified hotels where the delegates will be staying in Sandton. So unfortunately, we can't share some of this information at the present moment, but we do have other simulations which will be taking place in the month of October and November, and the next one will be taking place on the 18th of October and on the 25th of October. But the one on the 25th of October, which will be a real-time simulation, that information will then be shared to the public, and also leading up to the actual summit in November, then full information will then be shared with the public.
So best on the 18th, we all just stay home or at least avoid Sandton.
Please do, but we definitely know that the affected areas, as you are saying, is Sandton and the Nasrec Precinct. But due to these dates, they'll be happening on the weekends. The 18th will be on a Saturday, and the 25th will also be on a Saturday. And moving forward on the 15th of November, which will be the last simulation, that's also on a weekend. So it will cause some sort of traffic disruptions, but not as much as we did see today, which is during the week.
Xolani Fihla, JMPD spokesperson, thanks. The one thing that they would be simulating is people, as people do when they see a massive jam, they try to pull out, they try to pull onto another road, and, people break rules. They go over traffic islands, they go over solid white lines. So I don't know if that was all part of the exercise, but happy I could do my part and contribute to greater insights into all of these things, even if I was an involuntary volunteer. It's 29 minutes past 5.
EWN Business.
Stephen Curtis, you get those dogs that nod constantly. You would be one of those that shake their head constantly.
You're a better man than I, because just so that I understand this is the Joburg Metropolitan Police Department practicing messing up the traffic on a Thursday for an event that'll happen on a weekend. Because they can't just mess it up once, they've got to practice it. That's what I hear.
No, but the G20, some of the G20 will be during the week.
No, sure. But I mean, the actual thing that they're all worried about is the Saturday and the Sunday.
Yeah.
But anyway. No, I hear you. I just checked.
No, but seriously, we were stopped absolutely dead. I mean, normally traffic edges forward. Maybe there's an accident. You eventually make your way around the tow truck or whatever it is that's blocking the lane, whatever. But stopped dead completely.
There are aspects of my personality I like to keep hidden. Part of them are things I do when I'm driving. The JSE All Share today is down 2/3% at 110,243 points. Financials up 1.9%. Industrials down nearly 0.5%. And resources down 3.39%. Gold's come off a little bit, but mostly platinum shares. I think there's a bit of profit taking. Sibanye down 7.44%. Implats down nearly 5%. Pan-African Resources, Valterra, AngloGold, Goldfields, others, all of them down quite significantly on the day. It's the age-old question, John. Where is the peak? After gold going through $4,000 earlier in the week. Sappi having a good day. They're up 6.19%. And then South 32 up 3.65%. Some of the financial shares up quite strongly. First Rand, Discovery, PSG Finance all up very strongly on the day. First Rand actually up 3.5%. And then some of the consumer shares also. So the Foschini Group is up 2.29%. Pick and Pay is up 2.8% on the day as well. And the real estate company Equites reporting their net asset value per share is up by 2.7% in the 6 months to the end of August. In the US, markets turning negative, so there was the release of Federal Reserve minutes, which didn't really give any hint to interest rate movements there. Also, the JP Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon giving an interview to the BBC saying that he's actually more worried about a significant correction in the US stock market than everybody else, and is deeply concerned that something like that could happen in the next 6 months to 2 years. The Dow Jones down 0.37%, the Nasdaq down 0.25%, the S&P 500 down 0.22%. The gold price now, $4,026.26 an ounce. Platinum, $1,664.32. And Brent crude, $66.03. The rand to the dollar, 17.17 to the euro, 19.85 to the British pound, 22.85. On the Money Show tonight, John, the Public Investment Corporation making a big splash into what they call early stage mining. They'll be investing a lot of money there. We'll talk about that tonight. Selga, so local councils pushing back against Eskom's plans to, it seems, take over a bit more of the distribution. There's this wonderful note in it where Selga says, people should have the right to hold their democratically elected representatives accountable when electricity doesn't work. I mean, really? I mean, come on. I mean, you're not doing it. It's not working. Now you want to hang on to it. I mean, it's astonishing. And then in investment school tonight, I'm quite looking forward to it. We talk about how you manage the sort of situations that we're in with all of these peaks, AI valuations, a high gold price, and yet, there's lots of big buts flying around. Stephen Curtis, EWN Business.
Thank you, Stephen. The Money Show coming your way between 6 and 8. The latest news now with Mbali Dlamini.
Thanks, John. Good afternoon. We begin in the Western Cape, where the High Court has dismissed Taxi Association Codeta's urgent application to interdict the closure of certain routes and ranks from Fuleni and Khayelitsha to Somerset West. A 30-day shutdown has been in place for 3 weeks now and was announced following fatal conflict between Qatar and Codeta. Mobility MEC Isaac Silegu.
We welcome the Western Cape High Court's decision to dismiss Codeta's interdict and uphold the invocation of Section 91. This judgment reaffirms that our actions are guided by the law and the protection of lives.
Let's stay in the Western Cape, where National Police Commissioner Hangwani Maumela has dismissed suggestions that KZN Police Commissioner Nhlanhla Mkhwanazi is interested in politics. He also says Mkhwanazi is not interested in becoming the next head of the Directorate for Priority Crime Investigation, commonly known as the Hawks, which is rumoured to be at the centre of his fight with Deputy Commissioner for Crime Detection Shadrack Sibiya. Maumela has been answering questions on his first day of testimony before Parliament's ad hoc committee investigating police corruption as well as interference.
No. He definitely have no interest in politics. He's just a cop doing his work, and that is it.
Maumela says it would make no sense for Mkhwanazi to apply to head the Hawks due to his salary notch being higher.
When you go to Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi, he has been Lieutenant General over 10 years. So meaning his notch is far more than the most senior deputy. So practically, he can't be applying for a post where his salary will take a dip.
And back here in Johannesburg, a group of immigrants working illegally in the country has been arrested following an inspection blitz in Turffontein in the south of Joburg. The Employment and Labour Department conducted an operation today targeting various business sectors. Deputy Minister Jomo Sibia says the operation is to safeguard workers' rights, ensure businesses comply with labour laws as well as immigration regulations. Thando Luhlengobo reports.
10 foreign nationals have been arrested by Home Affairs and police after they were found to be working in the country illegally. The Home Affairs Department, that is part of the inspection blitz at Turffontein, says the workers presented fraudulent passports, work permits, critical skills permits and asylum seeker permits. Home Affairs Provincial Manager Mamakubong Muroke.
So from here we will be applying the law in terms of detaining those who have transgressed, but there is also an action for the employer who has employed illegal foreigners.
She says South African employees have a responsibility to check whether or not foreign nationals have proper documentation. Thando Luhlengobo, Eyewitness News.
A cloudy Friday in store for Gauteng tomorrow with afternoon showers expected. Lows of between 12 and 16 degrees and highs of between 26 and 27.
We still have bumper-to-bumper traffic in Midrand on the N1. This is in both directions between the Betlu Interchange and Samrand in Nooitgedacht. There's a traffic jam towards Diepsloot on N14 eastbound between Malibongwe Drive and the R511 Winnie Mandela Drive in Boksburg. Still expect about a 30-minute delay. N17 eastbound between Osborne Road and Carnival City due to roadworks.
The top story in EWN, the Western Cape High Court has dismissed Taxi Association Codeta's urgent application to interdict the closure of certain routes and ranks from Fuleni and Khayelitsha to Somerset West.
702 afternoons
with Relebohile Mabota, 1 to 3 p.m.
The fall-off rate is, I think, significantly greater than any of us would have thought, meaning that those 100 children entering school, only 4 of them will graduate. Now the question is, of those 4, how many are getting a job?
The graduate unemployment rate is sitting at around 12%. It is significantly lower than the overall unemployment rate, which ranges between 30 and 40%, depending on which statistics you're looking at. So there is definitely a challenge in terms of getting employed as graduates, but it is still the best chance of employment in South Africa and globally.
Zandile Makoba, consumer economist at Liberty.
702 afternoons
with Relebohile Mabota.
Let's walk the talk.
The all-new Audi A5 has arrived with a panoramic sunroof that changes transparency and a B&O sound system built into the headrests. Every detail makes driving feel like an art form. Visit your Audi dealership, book a test drive, and experience the Audi A5 from 14,499 Rand per month with a guaranteed future value. Visit audi.co.za for more. T's and C's apply. Brought to you by Audi Financial Services, a division of Volkswagen Financial Services South Africa, Pty Ltd, an authorized financial services and registered credit provider.
For those 2 a.m. checkouts or the late night shifts, for the last minute orders and the beginning of the month rush, for the 9 to 5 that becomes a 5 to 9. You don't clock out, and neither should your payments. Pay Fast by Network, always open for the dreamers, the doers, for you. From e-commerce to in-store payments and business funding, we have you covered. Sign up today at payfast.io.
Phishing, quishing, smishing, so many ishings. Bo, scammers are doing the most these days. From dodgy SMSs to fake QR codes, hacked WhatsApps and calls asking for your PIN. If it ends in ishing, stay alert. It's probably ishing your money. Scams can happen anywhere. And if unsure, contact ABSA on 0860 557 557. Protect your money. Protect your story. ABSA. Your story matters. An authorized financial services provider.
702. WhatsApp John
on 072
702
1702.
Good afternoon, 702 and fellow listeners. Ooh, I'm seeing SIU is raiding some fancy house in Oxford Road Avenue in Sandton. Them cars that are coming out of the Lambos. The Lambos that are coming out of the very expensive cars. And to think that is out of corruption, people had to die for it. That is not good. But then again, is this guy going to be convicted? Or is just another display of pretending to be dealing with corruption? And I'm waiting for the part of the judges. I've said it before, many judges in that judiciary system, they are very corrupt. I'm waiting for those ones. I want to see their faces.
Yeah, well, if you know their names, you may want to share them with us as well. I mean, it's easy enough to say lots of judges are corrupt. Which ones? Which cases? Give us some details. It's always useful if you can send us that. Send us a text on that, 072 702 1702. It's 19 minutes to 6.
EWN Sport.
Let's start off in India. Tola Kele, crucial World Cup game for the Proteas women. How are they doing?
Well, John, of course, they're chasing 252 for victory and currently at the crease on 71 for the loss of 4 wickets. That's in the 18th over. They still require 177 runs for victory. Batting is Sinalo Jafta on 10 alongside captain Laura Waldvat on 36. Switching over to football, where Ruben Amorim has been given 3 years to prove himself at Manchester United. That's after co-owner Jim Ratcliffe insisted he won't make a knee-jerk decision about his future. Amorim's side finished 15th in the Premier League last season and have fared little better this campaign, losing 3 of their first 7 games and then crashing out of the League Cup to 4th tier Grimsby.
We have to be patient, and I mean, we have a long-term plan. It isn't a light switch. You know, you can't run a club like Manchester United on knee-jerk reactions to some journalist who goes off on one, every week. He's a good guy, I mean, Ruben, he needs to demonstrate that he's a great coach over 3 years, because football's not overnight.
Bafana return to 2026 FIFA World Cup qualification action tomorrow against Zimbabwe at the Moses Mabhida Stadium. Spelelos Tolo is hoping to be named in the starting 11 and has discussed the pressure on the team ahead of their must-win encounter.
Actually, we have mixed emotions. Like, we don't want to take this game lightly, and at the same time, we don't want to feel too relaxed. So we are trying to keep the balance, but about the mood, if you come here in the Bafana, the mood is always good. The mood is fabulous, I can say.
Togo midfielder Samuel Asamoah has broken his neck following a collision with the pitchside advertising board in China, and his club say it could leave him paralyzed. He collided headfirst with the LED advertising panel after being shoved by an opponent during a domestic match on Sunday. The Chinese club say Asamoah is at high risk of high-level paraplegia. That's after suffering multiple fractures in his neck and sustaining extensive nerve damage. And over to the United Rugby Championship, where the Sharks will go in search of their first win of the season in Saturday's third-round clash with Leinster. Despite being defending champions, the Irish side are second bottom of the log. However, Lucanio Am knows that their luck can change at any moment.
It's still the beginning of the season, and they've started our way and we've also started our way. We know playing away from home is, it's tough, especially at this level. And, we know they are a quality side. They are champions for a reason. The log positioning for us doesn't really mean a lot where they're at, because we know what they're capable of.
Tola Gilimganga, Eyewitness News Sport.
EWN Traffic.
16 minutes now to 5 o'clock. Eyewitness Traffic is brought to you by Outsurance. SMS out to 45142 now, and you could save on car insurance. If you don't, ask them for 500 Rand. Delays still in pretty much the same old places, Karabo Charlie.
Midrand area bumper-to-bumper traffic, John, on the N1 in both directions. That's between the Patroons Change and Samrand. In Nooitgedacht, there's also a traffic jam towards Diepsloot, N14 eastbound. This is between Malibongwe Drive and the R511 Winnie Mandela Drive. Leaving Sandton, expect about a 20-minute delay on Catherine Street from west all the way to Grayston Drive. Boksburg, you can still expect about a 30-minute delay heading towards Brakpan on the N17 eastbound. This is between Osborne Road and Carnival City due to roadworks. And in Jet Park, Boksburg, there's still about a 30-minute delay. This is on Rietfontein Road, R21, heading towards East Rand Mall between Griffiths and North Rand Road. If you come across any other traffic issues, please WhatsApp us on 072-702-1702.
There's more EWN on air, online, and on the EWN app.
Clever late excuse number 87. My GPS took me to the wrong address. That's a good one. But fortunately, with the Outsurance pointsmen on the roads, you no longer have to come up with creative excuses for being late. The Outsurance pointsmen easing traffic congestion and getting you there quickly and safely since 2005. Outsurance really means it when they say you always get something out. In proud partnership with 702. Show them some love online using hashtag pointsmenlove. Outsurance is a licensed insurer and FSP.
You're with John Perlman on 702.
Let's walk the talk.
702 Drive. So, there are a lot of stories bubbling and boiling, and we will keep updating you on those in our regular news bulletins on 702, on the hour, on the half hour. Stephen Curtis has got a great lineup with the Money Show, and then Aubrey Masango with you from 8 to 12. Day is not done yet, and boy, plenty has happened already. But as we always do at the end of the show, well, let's just take it down a little bit and enjoy some music. We were talking earlier today about duets, where a male singer and a female singer get together not because they're in the same group. So I'm not talking about Ashford and Simpson, for example. I'm talking about people who collaborate for one, maybe two songs. So we're going to ask you to tell us best of those kinds of collaborations in your mind. Your very, very best. In fact, you don't have to send us a list. Just pick one. I've got a couple on my mind that I might share with you, but I'm much more interested in getting yours. But let's get us going with Kabazela. So you scratched your head for a while and then came up with what?
Yeah, so if you've watched the movie A Star Is Born.
The second one, hey?
Yeah, the remake, not the
Barbra Streisand, Chris Christopherson.
Exactly. Yeah. With Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Mm-hmm.
That was a complete surprise.
Yes.
Not so much on her part. She sings really beautifully, but on his part, it was him singing, him playing the guitar. He went for lessons and all that kind of stuff for that particular movie. And that whole album from that movie is really, really good. But this song in particular, Shallow, is a really, really good duet between Gaga and Bradley Cooper.
Yeah, and it's a fabulous, fabulous movie moment. If you haven't seen the movie, by the way, I sort of saw it and thought, well, I don't think I'm going to watch this, and happened to be on an aeroplane with time to fill. So not the best place.
You watched that on an airplane?
Yeah, not the best place to get the absolute most out of it. But
no.
Yeah.
And also terribly sad.
Terribly, terribly sad. Very, very sad. Fortunately, it was terribly, terribly dark. So I could be sad without people noticing. But a terrific song, a wonderful moment in a really, to my mind at least, excellent, excellent film. So enjoy this. And while you're enjoying Shallow, come up with your own thoughts, memorable duets. Share them with us. We'll see if we can dig them out of the archive.
Tell me something, girl. Are you happy in this modern world? Or do you need more? Is there something else you're searching for? I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change. myself.
Tell me something, boy. Aren't you tired trying to fill that void? Or do you need more? Ain't it hard keeping it so hardcore? I'm falling. In all the good times I find myself longing for change. And in the bad times I fear myself. I'm of the deep end, watch as I dive in. I'll never meet the ground. Crash through the surface where they can't hurt us.
Terrific song, a wonderful duet, Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper. So your favorite duets, please send them in on 072 702 1702. I'm not talking about groups where, as I mentioned, Ashford and Simpson, where you've got two performers who are in a permanent relationship. I'm talking about one-offs, two-offs, even three-offs. We need those, please, on 072 702 1702.
In the last 24 hours, this is what's happened in your world.
Seasoned cop Shadrack Sibia says he's been under surveillance since he was suspended as Deputy National Police Commissioner. Sibia addressed the media outside his family home in Centurion following a search and seizure operation by SAPS.
We are under siege here. It's helicopters, it's surveillance, left, right, and center. This is abuse of power. Yesterday, there was a blanket street there, and then as you come out, you'll see there's a car that side and there's a car that side. I mean, this is what I have to live with at this present moment.
Sibia says he feels betrayed by police management, but he will not back down.
I know they want to push me out. I will never resign. They must fire me.
EWN, in touch, in tune, and independent.
Tani Esther, or should I say the Tupperware Tani? How's business going?
Business is booming. I've been operating out of the boot of my car for 10 years, but shame, it couldn't keep up with my growing empire.
Okay, so you sold it to We Buy Cars?
Yes, quick. Sold my old one, bought a bigger one. I even sold some of my Tupperware to the friendly guy who picked up my car.
Stick to what you know best, eh, Tony?
Excuse me?
Never mind. We Buy Cars. Geared for your business, geared for you.
We're gonna make insurance great again. We're gonna build a wall around high premiums. A big wall. The best wall. And guess what? You're not paying for it. We're gonna grab poor service by the policy. It's gonna be tremendous. Believe me.
This message has absolutely nothing to do with the US government. It's paid for by the King of Insurance, who's making insurance great again. Get a quote now. It'll be the best decision, people are saying, ever. King Price is a licensed FSP. No fake news, just like her insurance.
702. What's up, John?
On 072
702
1702.
Hi, John. To me, one that really stands out has got to be Kate Bush and the guy from Genesis, Peter Gabriel. Don't give up. What a cracking song. If you got it, send it. Thanks, buddy. Sky. Ciao.
In this proud land we grew up strong. We were wanted all along. I was taught to fight, taught to win. I never thought I could fail. No fight left, or so it seems. I am a man whose dreams have all deserted. I've changed my face, I've changed my name. But no one wants you when you lose.
Yeah, Peter Gabriel wrote it, brought in Kate Bush to join him on that back in 1986. I hear people play that a lot, many years later, the mark of a great track. Perry says, mine is Rihanna featuring Eminem on Love the Way You Lie. Part 2, Tebeko, Hold Me, Whitney Houston, and Teddy Pendergrass. Great voices there. This one, what else have we got? We've got Kenny Rogers and Dolly Parton, Islands in the Stream. And we're getting some other Kenny Rogers support, which I'll share with you a little bit later. Moss just talking about duos that he likes. How about Joe Cocker and Jennifer Warnes, Kate Bush and Peter Gabriel, which we've just heard a moment ago. More of your voice notes.
My favorite male-female collaboration has got to be Mary J. Blige, U2, and the song One. Fantastic performance. This is Adrian from Midstream.
Hi, John. Maria from Katlehong. My most favorite duet had to be Luther Vandross and Beyonce doing The Closer I Get to You. Oh, they did it so well. That song had been done many times, but their one was just incredible. If you can find it, please play it for me. I would really appreciate it. Great show, John, as always. Thank you so much. Bye.
The closer I get to you, the more you make me see. By giving me all you've got.
Tell me more.
Ooh, yeah. Your love has captured me.
Over and over again, I try to tell myself that we could never be more than friends. When all the while inside I knew it wasn't real. The way you make me feel.
Oh, that's fabulous. Beyonce and Luther Vandross. What else? Floyd, Bill Medley and Jennifer Warnes. I've had the time of my life. Can't remember what movie that was from. Dirty Dancing. There we go. I could either lip read Stephen Curtis or listen to Jonathan Fairburn in my ears. How did I even forget that? Long time ago, I guess. Okay, more voice notes, more music.
Uncle John, the duet I can think of that still lies to me is Dionoic and Kashif, Reservations for Two. That's a very romantic duet. Thank you, Andy Lane, Breakendowns.
Hi, John. I think the best collaboration that I can think of is Kenny Rogers and Sheena Easton for a song called You Got Tonight. That's a very great song. I think it was released while I was still young, or maybe I was not even born. But anyway, great song. Thank you. Bye-bye.
I know it's late. I know you're weary. And I know your plans don't include me. Still here we are. Both of us lonely. Longing for shelter from all that we see. Why should we worry? No one will care, girl. Look at the stars now, so far away. We've got tonight. Who needs tomorrow? We've got tonight, babe. Why don't you stay?
Deep in my soul,
Kenny Rogers, Sheena Easton, we've got tonight. Now, if you're interested in music and its origins and where songs come from, that song was first done by a Detroit City rocker called Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band. Find it on YouTube. It's a different version. I have to say, I think Bob Seger did it better. But hey, who's to say what's better and what's not? That's it from 702 Drive. Thanks for being with us on this Thursday. From all of us, good night.
And now, The Money Show.
With Stephen Grootes, live on 92.7 and 106 FM. Streaming on the Prime Media Plus app.
And DSTV channel 856.
The Money Show with Stephen Grootes is brought to you by Absa Corporate and Investment Banking. Absa is a proud lead sponsor of B20 South Africa 2025.